are online. We are online. Okay. Shout out to Fitsu. Another session with your boy. Wait, how's the sound? Hold up. I wanna hear the sound. How's the sound in this shit? Yeah, the sound is a little bit low, but and then I can't really raise it because if I raise it, it's gonna start sounding otherwise. But we'll fix the sound another day, bro. That's that's a tomorrow problem, bro. Right now, let's just look at this content and stream this shit, bro. Shout out you guys. Be sure I get them subs up, man. We're doing it differently today. Usually we do like vertical streams, but the problem with doing like vertical streams, I can't convert like the actual streams into like your content. So I'm like, nah, dog, fuck it. I wanna react to the content like this. That way I'll be able to transform this thing into like actual content tomorrow. So let's hop into the first video. Lucas Raps caught lying. I actually saw this video.
It's okay, Dad. It's just one sandwich. I gave them one and I have one.
Alright, so Lucas Raps was caught lying, again. Right? And at this point, man, I can't keep protecting you, Lucas, man. I can't keep protecting you.
Here's the thing, ne? When I actually saw the clip, ne, the first thing that came to my mind's, damn, bro, why are you still talking about Tuplay, dog? Instead of you, cause honestly, you still have some shit on your chest, right? So if you still have some shit you want to get off your chest, just hop on a record and say it, dog. Don't be going around with my podcast and saying it, dog. Like that's just worse, bro. Like that's just the worst response you can ever give, bro. I already know what he's gonna say. I got the biggest song with Tuplay, Kinanan, what. I heard this shit. I heard this shit.
He was caught saying that Blackie's biggest song is with him.
But you and Blackie have done the song together. Couple of songs, not only one. So
That nigga's biggest song is with who?
yeah, I think it's with you. His biggest song is with you.
You can go and fact check. You can go and look. I'm not lying. You can go and fact check. You can go and fact check. Go and look. His biggest fucking song is with me.
Let's check. Let's check then. Let's check, bro. Let's go into the facts. I don't know if I got Spotify on like the laptop or what, but let's check. Wait. I think these are the stats right here. Nah, but they're not sitting the way we want them to sit. We have to go to Spotify to actually get like the actual thing. Let's go into Spotify. Hold up, let's check. Let's look at the numbers. Nah, dog, we can't check here, dog. We need to go on Spotify for real. We need to go on Spotify. Because that's the only way we can actually find out. Because I know, I think on his own song, that's like the biggest song. But let's check, y'all. Let's go on Spotify. Let's check. Let's check for some minute. Okay. No, it's not actually. Hold up. No, it's not actually his biggest song. He's capping. Nah, Lucas Raps is capping. Look at the facts, guys. Of course, if we say Set is the biggest song, they're gonna say it's a KO feature, right? It's a KO song. But if you look at the songs that Blakey has dropped, this is the biggest song, 8 million streams. And Big Time Slapper has, where's Big Time Slapper? Where's Big Time Slapper? Okay, let's check it. Man, I'm going through all these links. I could have just listened to the video and heard Brandon, because I'm sure Brandon did all of this shit. He did all the fact checking and what. But for the purpose of the video, guys, for the purpose of the video, let's check it out ourselves. Yay. Yay. Dog, I can't see the stats. Where are the stats on this song? Shit, I can't even check out the stats. Oh, it's on before now. Okay, let's hop on before now. Still there's no stats, Monsieur. Fuck. I tried, guys. Dizamile, guys. Dizamile. I tried.
Alright, so Lucas Raps was caught lying, you know, again.
Well, you and Blackie have done the song together. Couple of songs, not a
Shout out, Chia. Be sure to
So,
sub up.
but that nigga's biggest song is with who?
I think it's with you. His biggest song is with you.
You can go
Shout
and
out,
fact
Chia.
check.
Be sure to
You
get
can
them
go and
subs
look.
up.
Like, I'm not lying. You can go and fact check. You can go and fact check. Go and look. His biggest fucking song is with me. Why? Papa, I'm the reason why we put this energy together. You know,
Now, if we actually look at things and how things are actually structured, it's the other way around. Right? Blackie's biggest song is not with Lucas Raps, but Lucas Raps' biggest song
Is it Blackie?
is with Blackie.
Oh shit.
Now,
Oh, 4 million. Not even close, dog.
if Lucas Raps is not going to say anything on a song, then just rather not say anything. Don't say anything on interviews.
My point exactly, guys. Like, if you're not gonna hop in the studio and say whatever's on your chest, don't go on this podcast and talking your shit, bro. Like, that makes no sense. Don't talk your
Don't
shit
say
in the podcast.
anything on posts. Don't say anything on people's streams. Just stay quiet. If you're not gonna say anything on a song, because it's making you look. You know, right now we're supposed to be enjoying the fact that Usman Mane killed Blackie, but then you are making this a bigger W for Blackie. And I've got so much love for Lucas Raps. I came out and said that I'm taking Lucas Raps' side, but I can't keep protecting you if you're doing things like this, bro. To be honest. You know what I'm saying? Because he's out here saying that Blackie's biggest song
Shout out, Joe. Let's get them
is with
subs up.
him. No, Blackie has so many big songs, bro. So many big songs besides Big Time Slapper. And then we look at your Spotify, and one of your biggest songs is with Blackie. That, at least you should have done your research before speaking about something like this, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because now he's caught lying. He's making himself look like even more of a loser. He's taking a bigger L. It's just not looking good for Lucas Raps if he's not willing to respond.
Yeah, true.
And
Just
here's
keep
my
quiet,
thing,
bro.
right? He's obviously gonna get trolled, right? He's obviously gonna get laughed at. We're obviously gonna do our research and search it and check for it. That's why I'm saying if Lucas hadn't done his research, then he shouldn't have said anything, because we obviously gonna dive deep and look into what's going on. Look if this is actually his biggest song. This, you know, we actually gonna look at that. We're not just gonna take what you're saying for anything, right? So my suggestion is, it's either Lucas Raps responds to Blackie on a song,
Or he
says
lets
what
it
he has
go.
to say, or he just doesn't say anything at all. And
Yeah, let it
focuses
go.
on his YOG rollout, his YOG promotion, and whatever he has to do for YOG. Because right now, he's just fighting a losing battle, man. He's just really trying to make up for what he's lost, trying to make up for, you know, him seeming like, yeah, I put Blackie on, I did this. Yes, you did put Blackie on, bro. You did. We know this. He's also come out a lot of times to say that without you, maybe he wouldn't have been anywhere. He said that a couple of times, bro.
problem. People undermine energy. Yes, you have talent.
Yeah.
Yes, you have credibility. Yes, you have stardom. But you undermine network. You undermine how powerful it is for me to bring you into a room with this guy, you undermine that things. Because if I didn't bring you into that room, these people were never gonna look at you.
You'll never.
Or even if they were gonna look at you, they weren't gonna look at you the way that they looked at you today.
Yeah.
True. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? So you're working off of my credibility. You're acting like that doesn't exist.
Hey, that's a
You're
bad
acting
look. I won't lie,
that
bro.
doesn't play a role. My guy, are you mad? I'm bringing you into places you didn't know how to get into. Are you crazy? Now because you got into
Bro's still mad, bro. Bro is still mad. Listen, bro. If you really feel this way, Tanga, just go in the studio and rap, dog. Just go in the studio and rap. Cause now you coming on podcast, that's just, yeah, it's not a good look, bro. It's not a good look. This is worse than Blackie dodging the smoke from Usmama and it, dog. Like, this is not a good look, boy.
You're thinking you got you by yourself. I don't know what to tell you.
That's deep, man.
I don't know what to tell you.
You don't need to rub it in his face like this. You don't need to rub it in our faces like this, because you do get misinformed with some information that you're saying, and then you say it without proper research, and then you start looking like an idiot, and then it doesn't look good on you, bro. And to be honest, I have a lot of love for you, Lucas, but you can't keep doing this, because if you keep doing this, man, I can't protect you, man. To be honest, bro.
Sweetie, can I ask you something? What's the song that you're too scared to try? That incredible song that you've been avoiding. The one that makes you change.
Alright, cool.
So, at this point, for me, I really think that Lucas Raps is going through it.
Yeah.
I really think things are not looking good for Lucas. Especially when, you just dropped the project, and this is one of the first projects people are like, wow, this is such an amazing project, Lucas. This is beautiful, a bit of attention was on you, and then you get the song Karma, and yeah, you just get back in the dungeon again. It's just crazy, and I feel like this is a very rough time for Lucas. If this was any other situation, like if anything else was said in this diss track, like maybe just a normal lyrical battle, we just battling, dissing each other, and I didn't air out some of the things, like some of your dirty laundry, you know what I'm saying? Then I think he would have responded. But then he doesn't know how to respond to the things Blackie said. You know what I'm saying? My pool, yeah, my shit. He doesn't know how to respond to that, bro. You know?
Yeah, but to be honest, dog, Lucas Raps is bringing it on himself. But yeah, like he doesn't know how to respond to against
because
that.
A lot of us actually believe that's what he said. Even Shala, his ex, came out to say, bro, we actually protecting you because there could be a lot of other things we could be saying about you. You know what I'm saying? We keep protecting your name. And it's making me think, what else is there to know about Lucas Raps that we don't know? He's looking really compromised at the moment. He's in a bad space, man. I don't even want to lie. He's in a very, very bad space. And I thought maybe those Mamane beef would save him, and we put our eyes off of him, which we did, and then he made us put eyes back on him again. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? And to be honest, man, at this point, it's just Lucas, just respond on the track or just don't say anything.
At all.
Just focus on YOG, drop us music videos. Don't sneak this in any of the features or anything. If you want to shoot at him directly, shoot at him directly, bro.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's really not looking good. But yeah, man, that's all I gotta say. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think Lucas Raps is losing it. For me, I think he's really, really losing it. He doesn't know what to do.
I'm traumatized, please.
He doesn't know how to move. He just doesn't know. He's just really compromised at the moment. I don't want to lie to you. And Blackie is just going to use this. His fans are just going to add more fuel to the fire. Blackie's fans need something to rejoice at the moment. And you gave them a perfect thing to be happy about. Because they were really compromised. They were really feeling some type of way after the GOATs came out to say he's not going to be responding to Usmamane, and then you just decided to give them something to be happy about again.
He just could. He could have just kept quiet, bro.
Away from the fact that he can't respond to Smamane, and it went back to you. Shouldn't have done that, bro. But hey, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Peace.
My pool, my shit, yeah, my shit. Sorry, y'all. Be sure I check out my videos out, Buffett. Check out my video. My pool, my crib, yeah, my shit. Yeah, dog, like that was very scathing, bro. Okay. I'm gonna need to watch this video, like, save to playlist, because it's gonna get lost in the sauce.
Something very weird has been happening.
Shout out, y'all. The next video we're going to be tapping into is This Could Destroy Piano Pulse Podcast. Here's why. Let's hear what Brian has to say.
In the Piano Pulse.
I'm not pushing 50. I'm not pushing 50. You're close to.
It's fine, it doesn't matter, dog.
That's a fact.
I push 50 with money, nigga.
It doesn't matter.
Are you gonna push 50 with money?
Sfiso, come on, bro. You
Of
don't
course.
want to have that conversation.
Bro, I don't know. Like, Sfiso's best defense is money, boy. Every time like someone attacks him, I attack them back with money, bro. Every single time. Every single time, bro. Like, every single time.
I wanna have that conversation. You are having an age conversation.
Okay, fine, that's fine. You want to have a money conversation?
You are having an age conversation.
No, but you want to have a money conversation with me?
Don't fuck. No, let's do it.
My spirit. Okay, what are you saying, Maz?
No, I've been having this nigga say will help me like I don't know shit about him.
Relax.
No.
Relax.
We can do everything now. Okay,
Spill the beans,
wait,
man.
Relax, go.
Say everything you know about me. I'll say everything about you now.
It's fine. Sit well.
No, I'm well.
Sit
I'm
well.
talking to you.
No, I feel intimidated. Sit well.
No,
Let it go.
I'll stop you. Talk.
No, you're not gonna shout me.
Yeah,
That's
talk.
what you can do. Talk.
Bro, just go to the gym, dog. Go to the gym, bro. Like, go to the gym, boy.
No, sit
You must stop that shit of threatening me when I'm on the show.
Sit well. You see? Let's open everything. Let's open
Threatening me when I'm on the show and like you know people, like you know things that people know. Yeah, no, but I don't know what was the question.
This is the worst. Like, I won't lie, bro. Like, this is the worst band of people to be actually together, dog. Because all of these people they have an ego, dog. Like, all of them, they have an ego, and there's no mutual respect at all, bro. Like, if we're going to work together, bro, there has to be some level of respect that we have for each other. You know what I'm saying? There has to be some level of respect that we have to have for each other, bro.
The first time I saw Sfiso, he was at my door. I thought he was a thief.
That's the truth.
For the first time I met Sfiso, I felt like he was breaking into my house.
Put me and Questa, who looks like a thug.
You look similar.
So I still look like a thief.
People would think you're a thug if they didn't know you were on this show. Like, seriously. Like, they would.
Oh, I can't go now when I'm born.
I don't know you, so you're a thug from Knock Music's house. When you come to my door, I don't know you, dog. I don't remember you. If you had to open your door and you saw Sfiso, you'd like, take everything. That's what I told Yanga. I said, there's a thug at the door looking for you.
Masingena esibhedlela samahlanye wathenda banikala bani emergency baselekile dog shukugezela mfondini baselekile mo akubiyisa ngo.
I'm not sure if I'm the only body who's been noticing the recent animosity that's been growing for the podcast members.
Yeah.
It's definitely that's something that's been standing out every single episode recently, but especially more prevalently. Because ever since they introduced Unota onto the show, I don't know what it is, but it feels like there's a lot of contention that's been happening within this show.
Which events did you do? Yo, lots of events.
Which ones?
I just want to know, like, the highlights. I don't like you taking other people's story and making it your thing, bro. No. Nota preaches so much about knowledge, and we love that. But to me, honestly looking at it, he's not living his knowledge. Do you understand? He's not doing it. He only did it once with Questa. It hasn't happened again. If you're so great and you have all this information, why are you not redoing it? Do what I've done once. Okay, it's fine. Do it once. Okay. What you say I must do it again? Yeah. Do it once. Okay. Do it once. Just once. Okay. All right. Do it once on the high level. That's your answer to everyone that said that. Nota's glory entirely lies on Questa's success. Bullshit. Every time we think Nota he's done. Bullshit. It's Questa. And he didn't do that alone.
It did that with Leroy. But listen, none of those niggas put me on. I put all of them on.
Yeah.
I put Leroy on.
Yeah.
Leroy was working in the industry, in Toyota. You understand? I put him on the industry. The mere fact that he was able to have a booking agency, those were my relationships. That was me calling TV and say, put Casper on this DJ's production thing. Put this nigga on the...
This is the reason why, bro. Like, I strongly believe, man. Be sure I get them subs up, bro. This is the... I strongly believe you have to do it on your own, bro. Because the last thing you want, dog, is somebody out there on some shit like, I put you on. Yeah, you may give like I saw now. Yeah, ngaphandle kwami wena ukho njeni. Like that's the most distasteful thing that could ever happen, bro. So anyone who's watching, bro, like make sure you get it on your own, bro. That way nobody can ever say things like this, bro. Cause trust me, there's people who feel like they're responsible for your success, even though, dog, their contribution was like 10%, dog, and you had the 90% all on your fucking back, on your shoulders, but they're gonna feel like they're responsible for your success, dog.
This thing, man. That was me making those things.
I mean, for one of the episodes, it seemed like Utahi and Sfiso were really going at each other, and it honestly seemed like something violent could have broken out.
And you're not pushing 50. I'm not pushing 50. You're close to... That's why it doesn't matter, dog. That's a fact. I push 50 with money, nigga. It doesn't matter.
Are you gonna push 50 with money?
Sfiso, come on, bro. You don't want to have that conversation.
I want to have that conversation. You are having an age conversation.
Okay, fine, that's fine. You want to have a money conversation?
You are having an age conversation.
No, but you want to have a money conversation with me.
I'm saying to you.
Hold on.
I'm
Okay, no, I want to take this one.
We got my
Use Sfiso. You want to have a money conversation with me? You want to have a money conversation with me?
Go ahead.
Nigga, don't do that. I'll strip you, bro. With money. Come on. Don't play with me.
Okay.
I know too much, my nigga. With me. Money.
I forgot he's got more money than me.
Don't play.
You're right. Don't fuck. No, let's do it.
Okay, what are you saying, Maz?
No, I've been having this nigga say we have me like I don't know shit about him.
Relax.
No. You can do everything now.
Okay, wait. Relax. Go.
Say everything you know about me. I'll say everything about you now.
It's fine. Sit well.
No, I'm well.
Sit well.
I'm talking to you.
No, I feel intimidated. Sit well. Let it go.
I'll stop you. Talk.
No, you're not gonna shop me.
Yeah, talk.
You can't do.
Talk.
No, sit
You must stop that shit of threatening me when on the show.
Sit well. You see?
With one comment saying, I don't like this podcast, gaining 700 likes. And another comment saying the disrespect towards his elders, though, gaining 400 likes. Why are they doing this podcast if they don't like each other, gaining
Makes no sense.
398 likes? But another comment, which would be a symptom of a bigger issue that's been happening within this podcast, would highlight something very interesting, saying this podcast would be boring without Usfiso gaining 1,200 likes. I think their Chillers Punch has a higher alcohol percentage than the one I usually drink, getting 2,300 likes. It seems like I'm not the only person that's been noticing the recent animosity between the podcast members in the last few episodes. But this is doing something very interesting for the viewership, because it seems like the more fights that happen on the show
more people tap in.
quickly get turned into small clips for TikTok. And when those clips are posted onto TikTok, not only do they do massively on the platform, but that viewership also trickles over to the podcast on YouTube, meaning the more drama that happens on the show, the more viewers want to tune in.
Guys, the next episode, I don't want to hear this English bullshit again. If you don't have more money than me in this show, come on.
Was I taking notes, innit?
Even if you can get comments of people saying that they genuinely don't like the podcast, but the truth of the matter is, you can't look away. You see, the more dysfunctional the thing is, the more controversy that's surrounding a certain topic, it's only natural that the more people are going to flock over to see exactly what all the hype is about. And when that person mentioned something about the Chillers Punch on the episode, alluding to the fact that they drink alcohol before they film these episodes,
makes
then
sense.
it really
Makes
all
sense.
makes sense. Because I think
sense.
also the podcast members themselves know that the more riled up they can get each other, the more viral clips can be used to boost more viewership for the podcast. So ultimately, pretty much what you're seeing is something that's been manufactured. because the only podcasts that go viral are the podcasts where they're arguing with each other like they have been in these last few episodes. However, this comes with a hidden problem that the members don't realize, because the more they keep getting each other riled up, the more it erodes their personal relationship
with each other,
one another. As much as we can be entertained when Unota is attacking Utache, or Utache is attacking Nota, or Spiso's in the mix, my personal opinion is this can't be good for the long-term relationship of these members, because this is how early cracks within a foundation start to develop. Although it does increase viewership, it comes at a cost of longevity. Because if they're going at the pace they're going on now, in probably less than a year, they're gonna need to replace one of the members, because they'll ultimately be fed up with the dynamic. It's only normal. So again, while this is a good strategy to pop off in the short term and gain a huge amount of viewership,
it's terrible.
It's really not a good foundation to build your podcast on, because it comes at the authenticity of your podcast. However, only time can tell how long this dynamic lasts. However, talking about dynamics, recently a clip has been going viral on social media for all the wrong reasons.
Who's this? Who's this now? Who's that, bro? Who's that, bro? Who's that, bro? I don't get it. Who that? Who's that Pokemon?
Because the media personality and activist Ungizwe Mkuno would be seen trying to shake Usomizi's hands at what I can only describe as probably the after party at the Metro FM Awards. However, this interaction wouldn't go as Ungizwe would have planned.
Oh. Aye. Listen. If that big ass nigga's in front of me saying get out, I'm getting it off. I'm being get. Yo man, last thing when he gets slapped by a light skinned buff ass nigga, that's the last thing you wanna do, bro. Especially when you're a Zulu, dog. So. So
my question is, after Ungizwe said all these things about gay people, about Usomizi, did he genuinely expect Usomizi to shake his hand after the things in the comments he had made in the past?
Nah.
I'm not really sure what Ungizwe was trying to accomplish with this interaction, because when Usomizi ran away from him...
Do you know, bro, I feel like it's one of those things whereby it's like sometimes people they are a fan of you, but they don't know how to translate their fandom into love. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be a fan of the LGBT community or gay people, and you ain't gotta be a fan of that, but you know, you still have to be like respectful, though, because you don't know which opportunities you're actually closing by opening your mouth. You know what Pause. Pause, y'all. Pause. But yeah, as I'm saying, so it's like, it's one of those things whereby he's low-key a fan of Usomizi. And when he saw him, he was like, oh shit, now Usomkaka. Like, and he wanted to like get a handshake, probably talk to him and none of that, you know what I'm saying? I don't blame Usomizi. So means I wouldn't talk to this nigga as well if I was like part of the member, because like, disrespect is disrespect, guys. No matter how you put it, disrespect is disrespect.
Face to face with the bodyguard, and it seems like him and the bodyguard would exchange a few harsh words.
I'm challenging you. Somizi, ukuthi ucele izitabane zakho ngoba wena umushe izwe ukwaze uhamba uyozana wathandana wazi wena umuntu esifazane
Hey, look, listen to the Zulu. No, man.
wenziwa indoda ngowesifazane waphinde wazokwenza amabala angavumelekile phezu komhlaba Msomizi tshela izinja zakho uyikhuze zixolise ngaphekwa lokho uma izingexolisa izinja zakho niphume ibhodwe lenu sesibongile ane kwalokho masike sambona oyedwa wenu efaka imvunulo kaZulu ephethe isihlangu sikaZulu efaka umqhele kaZulu ngabe mina njengongizwe umlando wakwamkhulu suka manje noma noma nihlangene khona nathi sobe sikhona.
I mean, rumor has it that one of the reasons Somizi had a bodyguard was for interactions like this. You can only imagine if Somizi didn't have a bodyguard, how this interaction would have
went.
gone. But I think we need to have a little bit of a serious discussion regarding abantu abafana njengongizwe, because we often praise Ungizwe for how staunch he is, for his views regarding the Zulu nation, especially matters that affect Zulu people. And this is quite honestly a quality that a lot of people love about Ungizwe, is the fact that he doesn't back down from a challenge, and he's not easily bullied like a lot of other people, because he stands up for what he believes in. And so many people see Ungizwe as some sort of leader. But the problem is when we start putting people like Ungizwe in leadership position, though we may agree with a lot of what they do, it comes with a number of downsides. Because if you're going to be an effective leader and really affect change among people's lives, one of the qualities of being a leader is knowing when to have self-control, which is quite honestly something that I see Ungizwe
Doesn't have.
lacks.
Yeah.
asizokuzwa ngani sizongena sizokujabula ngempama wena uzokujabula ngempama songena siyangena kusuka
Yo.
You're not respecting me. When
no you have to respect me because I'm angry and
so if you're
my
angry,
sister
go take a walk and come back and relax.
No.
If you're angry, that means you're not a gentleman.
No.
That means you're a gangster. That means if you're angry, go take
No.
a walk, breathe in, and come back.
Okay, bro. Did he seriously say you must respect me because I'm angry? Come on. I remember this one interaction, bro. And I'm still gonna drop that vlog, bro. This is the reason why I thought personally I don't have a problem with Zulu niggas, but hey man, some are just too much, bro. Me and this other Matala thought we start getting into it, and then all of a sudden thought he brings tribalism. He's like, yeah, I mean I'm Zulu, and I was like, hold up. When he said that, dog, I was like, man, fuck that shit and fuck this. I'm going, bro. Cause ain't no way I'm finna listen to anybody like try to like bully me using like the whatever tribe they're from. Like yo, he seriously said, yeah, mina ngumzulu, mina uzibamba. I was like, I know, sala ngumzulu bakho, dog. Sala lapho,
Don't
dog.
tell me what to talk. I'm not your child. I'm an adult. Don't tell me what to talk. You talk what you want to talk. I'll talk what I want to talk. It's a free society. In the some of the constitution, it's freedom of speech. Do you know the constitution? Passed in 1996. It's freedom of speech. You can't tell me what you want me to talk.
no
I can't talk to
fuck the appointment for abusing my sister,
Right.
taking the furniture, taking everything and
Now?
putting the Pakistan in the shop.
Now?
Fuck you, I'm telling you, fuck you, fuck you,
Sir,
fuck you. I supposed to hit you right now.
it's criminal in you. Yeah, you can hit me, but then you
No, I supposed to hit you.
you touch me.
Fuck you.
I'm an official.
Fuck you.
I'm an
Fuck
official
you.
of the court.
I'm telling you, fuck you.
That's criminal in
Fuck
you,
you.
yes, sir.
Fuck you.
You can go then. Fine.
Fuck you. I'm telling you right now.
Thank you very
You are totally wrong.
Often when we see him on these videos that go viral, it's often him swearing at certain individuals. It's often him trying to force his way into getting what he wants. The problem with this, unfortunately, is that you quickly shut off any type of dialogues. Now, I'm not gonna lie, some situations might need for you to be a little bit more firm than usual. But what does it say about us if we put abantu abafana njengongizwe on a pedestal? If we look to these people as the ideal of what leadership
Should
looks
be.
like, Ongizwe is unfortunately a tale as old as time, because the qualities that might propel you to gaining a certain amount of favor with a group of people, the qualities that might propel you to being seen as somebody who's genuinely a leader, can also be the qualities that lead to your downfall. Ongizwe, I believe, can be a really effective voice in leadership, especially in KZN. But if he doesn't have self-control, it all ultimately means nothing. A house that's built on a deck of cards, a house that doesn't have a firm foundation, because he himself will be his eventual
Downfall.
downfall. We need to stop idolizing people that are loud and boisterous but lack humility. Because people of other nations, people of other cultures will continue to not take us seriously. There is a time and a place to be boisterous. There is a time and a place to be fervent for your beliefs
Yeah.
and stand 10 toes.
And here's the thing, right? This actually brings me back to that altercation I had. Like, it wasn't like a physical altercation, I think. Like, the reason why I just lost respect for him is because he said, like, yeah, mina ngumZulu, nan. I was like, hold up. Mina ngena lapho utona umZulu. Where do I enter? What does that have to do with anything? And when he said that, I just left him there because the thing is, like, someone like him, right? He depends heavily on fear and on trying to boss people around. And if those people cannot be bossed around, then he loses power instantly. Same thing with him. As soon as he said that, I left him there and he spoke alone. All of a sudden I hear him say, nango kuyahamba, nango kuyangala. I'm like, yeah, dog, I'm not finna listen to your shit. It's all up, but like, that's just how it is. That's just how it is, man. Great video by Brian. Brian be killing these videos. He be killing these videos for real. He be killing these videos for real. Let's see what else we have here. Man, I don't care about Kendrick, man. Man. Kendrick Lamar is like the internet darling, bro. He's like the internet darling, so. Oh, the Lacey situation. Oh, that's the next video supposed to tap into. Let's tap into the Lacey video. Shout out, Trent.
People who are just blatantly just trying to put lies on my name because
the Lacey situation is disturbing.
Just gets them clicks.
Eventually, Lacey and Darla started talking again, and whenever he would fly down to Florida and he'd have to leave to go to his flight, the same day she would go back to Bryce's.
I announced your name 15 times on the loudspeaker. You said you would come out and get me and tell me when the cart's on.
Let's get out of here.
80 years old, wrinkly as in 3 years. I don't know what he's got going on in his life.
It seems like Lacey is having one of the worst weeks of his life after a couple of clipping pages started a smear campaign on not only him but also his girlfriend. And literally last night, he had one of the worst clips go out.
Which game is
old
this?
Man who was working at a golf course that he should not exist anymore. And it seemed like it turned the entire internet against him when people on Twitter were already bashing him consistently. It doesn't seem like it can get any better for Lacey, but I wanted to break down these situations because they happen back to back. But you know, in order to do that, we had to start from the very beginning. Who even or any of these people, and how do we get here in the first place?
Do I even give the attention that, like, do I even give this clout feed the attention that they want just so I can, I feel like it's not even worth it, bro.
Just in case you're unaware, Lacey is a pretty well-known streamer, a part of the group formerly known as FaZe Clan, and makes content on a consistent basis, from IRLs to desktops, doing whatever he has planned that day. And a lot of people on the internet have a very big disdain for him, either coming from outrageous takes that he's made, ways that he interacts with certain people on stream, or any wild thing he might happen to do while the cameras are on. But it doesn't seem like the hate really gets to him at any point in time. He might talk about a situation here and there, but it never gets too serious to a point where he seems to genuinely care. Until he started dating Darla Claire, where it seems like a lot of people use her as ammunition to get Lacey irritated and mad. And that happened most recently when Lacey called out a couple of clipping pages for the weird stuff that they happen to be posting.
Bro, this is how I felt, bro. Ever since I got fake tweets posted about me, like, I've just been in a horrible mindset. It's caused me a lot of distress, and honestly, it's made me not able to focus on my career and my streams, which I feel like personally I actually lost out on tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, because because of the emotional distress that I've went through, and I've lost sponsorships because of the fake tweets that not only this account but many others have been posting, and you know, these fake titles and these fake captions that are just so misleading and just straight up defamation and lies has really affected me mentally and financially over the last 3 to 6 months. And you know, I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Can't listen to the noise, boy.
You know, don't believe everything you see on the internet. And Jason and Pokey, I will happily join in on this.
Don't listen to the noise, boy.
I think that these people are to society and the internet, and they need to be taken down.
This was going to be one of Lacey's first mistakes because his friend was going through a situation with a couple of clip pages where they were making false captions, literally lying on his name, and Lacey decided to join in because he had the exact same thing happen to him. But unfortunately for Lacey, it seemed like his community wanted to help him, and normally that would be a good thing, but in this case they were leaking a ton of personal info on the specific clip page, which included his name, his address, some people in his life. That turned Lacey into public enemy number 1 for all of these clip pages. Not just the one clip page that got leaked, but every last one of them. They started spamming a bunch of videos, adding their fake captions, and talking bad about Lacey, and it seemed like that didn't really get to him. So instead, they started spreading a ton of crazy old clips or just
let me just hop off this video. One thing I must say though is, when people say certain things to get a reaction out of you, if you react to them, bro, you're basically opening the floodgates. So you should never open up the floodgates, boy. Never open up the floodgates. Doesn't matter what people say, man. Whatever bullshit they be saying, man, just don't react to that. Because once you react to that, you're just opening the floodgates, and they're just gonna come. They're gonna come crazy on you. They're just gonna go crazy on you, bro. Why the industry secretly hates Future. That sounds like a good video title. Why everybody secretly hates Future. Let's hop in.
Future presents himself as a man with honor and strong values in a rap game full of fake people and snakes. But the thing is, the people around him tell a completely different story. His so-called brothers think he's fake.
I mean, you trying to just use a nigga like you fighting and you ain't real. You just a buster all the way around. Like, nigga, what's wrong with you?
His people are exposing him behind the scenes.
Future, anything that come out about you in the next 6 months, ATL Jacob set you up for this.
Future operates a lot like Drake when it comes to using women as weapons against other men. Some would argue he's actually worse. He just doesn't get the same flag for it for some reason. Everybody understands you don't play around with another man's woman.
Yeah, because we all know like the music industry does not fuck with Drake, man.
Don't even mention her. Pluto, however, goes out of his way to poke at his peers through the women they're dating. And it doesn't matter how much these rappers front like they're above emotion. They're pretty sensitive about things like this. There was an interview where he was asked who he doesn't like in the industry, and he named Joe Budden. But then he randomly added how beautiful Joe's fiancée is.
Oh, but Joe Budden, he got a badass bitch. He got a badass girl. I like her.
So now all of a sudden, Future don't fuck with Joe Budden and my bitch is bad because Future wanted to do an interview on the Joe Budden podcast and Joe Budden didn't want to do it. Why would I want to interview Future? I don't respect you as a man, nigga.
That's Future's character right there. And because this entire industry cycles through the same small pool of women, he deliberately sorts after girls who are connected to his peers.
8 a.m. Monday, she yours.
She yours at 8 a.m.
This weekend, I love her.
These rappers are all sleeping with the same women, and they all talk to them about each other.
We fucking bitches together, girls together.
Even with the man that signed Future, a part of their beef was also because of the women between them and all the pillow talking.
I don't want you to be able to tell no bitch you f***ing on the side that we might be f***ing together. oh yeah, this my artist because you pillow talking with this because she love me more than you or whatever the case may be because I'm coming up now.
Metro Boomin was privately telling girls how much he hated Drake, and those exact conversations found their way to academics.
The women who told me that, they said he's very nice, this and third, but he don't like even when they play Drake around that nigga. I'm like, what? So if we're all just hanging, we play Drake, he gets upset. Why does he get upset? I don't know. Metro did a release party, and I seen the same girls there with him. I'm like, oh, y'all wasn't lying. I thought they were lying. I swear, I thought they were lying.
When Kanye brought Future in to executive produce Donda 2, they were sharing women during that time too.
Kanye West. Yes. Does he have you blocked or Drake? They both do. I was just like texting Kanye because like I don't fuck with Drake anymore. I was like, I want to fuck his arch enemy.
God, where her mother at? Where this little girl mother at?
I'm telling you, bro. Like, this is the shit I've been trying to tell. Like, these women, they gonna fuck the ops, boy. Like, they gonna fuck the ops, boy. They gonna fuck the ops. Let's just get paper, dog.
So I was like, I know you're friends with Pusha T. I have your number. Like, I'm gonna see if you can hook me up. And I didn't think he would be like jealous because he hooked me up with Future. So I'm like, why would you care that I want to fuck your friend? He like passed me to the homies. So why would you be mad?
Where they role models at? Where's the adults?
It is one small, messy, interconnected circle. And every secret eventually finds its way out because the person they told it to is already in 3 other rappers' DMs. But Future plays a major role in the mess. He raps about proudly sharing women with his friends, passing them around and keeping it player. But behind the scenes, it's a totally different story. There's a story about a girl named Courtney, one of Future's on and off girls. At some point when her and Future were beefing, she started talking to someone she described as a close friend of his.
Me and Pluto are arguing. We're beefing. We ain't, listen, it's a dub. I go start hanging out with that person, okay? That person's really real close to him, whatever. So as soon as he seen me moving on, but not just moving on, but to somebody that he was close with, that's when he sent that invitation to my email to come to his birthday.
But that didn't sit well with the friend since he was now also involved with her.
This person ended up kind of like feeling away. He had told me like it's been plenty of times that me and him have dealt with the same girl, and I'm like, look, I'm done with that person.
Suddenly, both men were going behind each other's backs, each talking to Courtney while also discussing the other.
I get a call, and he's like, hey, Pluto, hey. He pulls up, and his first question is, so, talking about his friend. He questions me about this person. He get mad, he walk out. I'm gonna come see you a little later, I'm hot right now.
Behind the scenes, multiple people describe Pluto as an emotional pillow talker, someone who acts strange with his friends the moment girls enter the picture.
That's just how he is when it comes to girls. That's just how he is.
You like, yeah, like she burnt out, just talking shit, okay? Because he a pillow talking ass nigga.
Is this really from Future?
It
don't sound like Pluto.
But you claim to be this nigga who keep it P all the time.
Which one is it? You player or you ain't?
For years, Future and Young
I
Thug
mean,
sold
guys,
the
I'm
world
not
with
player.
glamour.
I'm not player at all. Me, guys, listen, guys. If I'm with the chick, dog, and then she's with another guy, dog, I'm not play about that shit. Like, I just cut off everybody. Like, I'ma cut all of y'all off. I'm not like that, bro. I don't like sharing my hoes. And most of the time, these hoes be trying to get you to like share them and shit. I'm like, man, you dumbass bitch. I ain't finna share your ass. Go be with the ops one time.
The self-proclaimed twins who seemed inseparable. But then Young Thug's jail calls leaked, and the sad truth was revealed to the world. In one of those calls, Thug was venting about Future refusing to perform at a free Young Thug concert.
I was on the phone with this nigga last night. This nigga like, man, I told him I ain't want to do the show because I ain't want to feel like I was stealing your shine. Nigga, what are you talking about? And you know that's not the meaning, but you just don't want to do it, so you just like making something up. Like you just so goofy, man. You just like, man, go ahead on it.
This isn't some stranger he was letting down. This is the man he's been calling his brother, so Thug's anger was understandable. But his frustration wasn't really because of the concert. He had already felt a way towards Future long before he went to jail. And obviously, it had something to do with women once again.
Me and him ain't been tight in a minute. And it's because he do little lame jump like, you asking me what to say on the song and how you should start off your song. Then this girl in the room, now you acting like you don't hear me telling you that. Just like little fake nigga like that, like little stuff like that. I don't be liking that nigga. I'm a player. Like, I don't know what image you trying to get off to these girls, but you an idiot, nigga. Like, everything you know a nigga teaching you, I done taught you. Cut it out, bro. Like, the crazy part is every girl who I talk to tell me that. stop being so nice to these niggas. These niggas be like fake trying to text your girls and fake DMing and fake trying to do things and laughing behind your back. And
he called Future a lame, said he's fake and goofy, and he has the nerve to switch up the moment girls come around. This isn't how Thug and Pluto have spoken about their relationship in the public.
It's like my twin. It's like seeing me all over again. I just don't want her to make the same mistakes I made. There's no ulterior motives, just real love.
What advice have you given him?
Numerous of things, even with him telling me things that make me better. Like, he's super smart. He always tell me certain things. I'm like, man, sometimes I need that. Like 2-3 days ago, he just telling me the most realest shit ever on the phone.
To me, it looks like Thug is just angry about something else. It's really about the stuff he heard Pluto had said about him.
Bitches told me that you talking bad. I know they lying to me.
In another call with his girlfriend, they were discussing the many different women who had gotten rid of Future's babies, mentioning specific names.
Goddamn Pluto. She probably not killed some of his babies, for sure. I know for sure she don't have them abortion. That nigga's nothing in Arabian, man. Tripping.
He all the way burnt out.
Sure.
Oh, that's crazy though.
What it do?
That's crazy though.
I'm here, baby. Love is patiently.
Oh, that's crazy though.
Right, the wordplay.
It's funny because Thug has also claimed to keep his soul P, which obviously now we see has never been the case. He was pillow talking too in these jail calls.
Bro, I don't do none of that shit. I don't pillow talk. I don't do none of that shit, bro. I'm a real man, bro. I'm a player.
But you get what I'm saying, though.
This isn't the kind of conversation you have.
Hey, think about not pillow talking, bro. Yeah, it's very hard, man. They don't think, but it's hard not to pillow talk, bro. It's hard not to pillow talk. Yeah, but like once you get to like a certain level, though, you just gotta move different, or like don't be mentioning other niggas and all that shit, bro. You know.
Have about your brother with anybody, let alone your partner. So it's clear that for a long while he despised Future, but he still chose to fake kick it with him.
All these niggas do sucker shit toward me, bro. Every one of these niggas. Anybody you can name who we've been talking about in here. These niggas talk the hoes about me. These niggas do all type of shit. I still love them niggas. That's just how he is when it comes to girls. It's alright. I love him. That's just how he is.
When the phone calls leaked, Young Thug obviously had to do damage control. He made a song saying he didn't know why he was even speaking on another man's business like that.
It's all love and respect on my end. You already know that, bro. I don't even know I'm speaking on that type shit. We don't speak on that shit, bro. We foundational men, bro. We learned that shit from niggas like Pluto, you know what I'm saying?
Later in the song, he revealed girls had told him what Future was saying about him, and he claimed he didn't believe them, but obviously he did. But Future had already heard everything, and of course he felt away. He was supposed to appear on 2 additional songs on Thug's album. He pulled both of those features. There was also a collab with him, Thug, and Lil Baby on Ty Dolla $ign's album, and he removed himself from that one too. This is kinda sad because when Thug came home from jail, the 3 of them, Future, Thug, and Lil Baby, were completely inseparable. The Miami Musketeers. They spent every day together making music and basically living with each other.
You go to the studio every day? Is that like
all of us, even like Future, Thugs, and like we all like we real. Like we all live in Miami right now. We all hang together.
Oh, everybody's in Miami.
Day, yeah. We all go to the same studio every day. We've been like that for like a year and a half right now.
all the homies under one roof? We got Pluto, Wham, and the one and only Spider. Locked in the studio doing like 20 songs a night.
A lot of you guys have been asking me for the beats I use in these videos. I appreciate the love. If you're interested in them, just email me. There was a time when screenshots leaked of Future's messages with the girl that he used to deal with. He was messaging her after finding out she had moved on with another rapper, Trippie Redd. And in those messages, Pluto was generally bothered that she was with someone else, the same way he was earlier with that girl Courtney.
She said there's nothing really to speak on. He replies, that's your nigga now?
Then he says, you come to Miami? Don't let me know, huh? Yo, Future is like big pimpin'. Like, Future not gonna be pressing a girl talking about, oh, you fuck with another guy. Then Future say she belongs to the streets, right?
She belongs to the streets.
But he quickly did damage control and called the screenshots fake. The girl was merely cloud chasing like they all do.
Now, Future actually responded to this whole thing and he said, yo, this
Hey
is a
man,
fake text.
I don't
He
care
then
how y'all
tweeted,
niggas
he said,
take this shit, but hey, listen, bro, listen, bro. If a chick goes and bees with the ops, dog, like it's chai, boy, it's chai. I ain't finna be. Well, the thing is like me, bro, like, man. Like, I feel like the biggest problem with these guys make it seem as if they're not bothered by the things women do. Me, bro, like, I be feeling a type of way as well when women move like different. I'm like, oh, this how you moving now? Okay, cool. Stay moving on that side. Like, that's just how I take it, bro. I'm not gonna be hitting her up. I'm not gonna be trying to do none of that shit. I'm just bro. Like, that's just
Yeah,
not
the
how we
mix
moving.
still get thrown in fake news.
He lied. Y'all niggas worship him.
What actually happened is Future did send those messages. This nigga Trippy being messy is the one that leaked them, knowing exactly what it would do to Future. He knew it would make him look weak and make himself look cooler in the process. This girl then turned around and exposed Trippy to Future's team.
Future's team somehow sent me this, right? They called the girl in question and they said, why the hell you posting Future's text messages online?
All that social media shit, man, we ain't with this shit, man.
I'm not doing no social media shit. I sent it to Trippy. And I was like, oh, like, you know him, like, aren't y'all cool? Because he said that's his favorite artist. And I sent it to him.
But why would Trippy Red be doing that?
Because he's about to drop an album. And I feel like he wants the clout.
That's
I
crazy.
never sent that shit out.
These rap niggas is crazy.
He was like, oh, no, I sent
These
it to
rap
my
niggas is
manager.
crazy.
He sent it to his management. That nigga push that narrative, man. Niggas trying to sell their music. Nigga, make music, nigga.
Trippy also came out to deny the allegations by calling them fake news while playing a Future song in the background. And you see how much Pluto cares about his image, so this obviously bothered him.
Yo, Trippy's 100,000% clout chasing off of Future. He's fucking Future's bitch. Future gave this girl an AP. She tatted his name right here. Trippy lying. They're all lying. Future lying, Trippy lying. Why send the messages if you're gonna lie like you didn't send them? He 100% sent them. But I talked to the girl. The girl sent me all this shit.
When 21 Savage took shots at Future, it seemed like it came out of nowhere. But the beef had been building quietly for a while. There were talks that Future felt away about Drake choosing 21 for a project, instead of making What a Time to Be Alive 2, which they had started teasing.
So you heard that Future is upset with Drake because Drake did an album with 21 Savage because it makes their project
down
seem less important now.
Where'd you hear that at, N.O.? In the streets. In the streets.
Future's team denied it, of course. The tension between these two rappers was personal. One of Future's girls used to talk to 21, and Future knew about it. This same girl, Courtney, once got jumped by 21's girlfriend because she spoke out about their past. There was an altercation outside a club where she got jumped by a group of girls, which unfortunately led to a miscarriage, and she later confirmed the baby was Future's. Later on,
I need to be careful with these shots,
he
bro. I
raps
need
some
to be,
bars.
because I know like when it comes to like alcohol, like or like whiskey, like it takes at least like 1 hour. I think it takes like 1 hour for like the whole thing to like hit your system or whatnot. I can't really remember the specifics, so I need to chill off a little
That
bit.
are clearly for 21 Savage. He raps about a girl who's a rapper, what he did with her, and then uses the word mulatto. That isn't a coincidence. Latto was 21's girlfriend, and Future knew exactly what he was saying and what he was trying to do. So when you see Future on X declaring himself the biggest, and then 21 responds saying the biggest changes all the time, but he is actually the realest. He wasn't just responding to a tweet. Savage was saying out loud what a lot of rappers believe privately. They eventually got on a call, and afterwards Savage apologized publicly. But you think these guys are actually cool? Future deliberately poked at him by being sneaky, bringing up his girlfriend. Whether he had been with her prior, or he was just doing it to get into his head, it's another case of him using women to get at men. In 2022, ATL Jacob, one of Future's main producers, made the mistake of doing an interview with academics.
Future ain't do nothing. This nigga came over here gossiping about Future. ATL Jacob, the gossiping bitch that he is, was in my studio.
Before they got on camera, he revealed that Future and his entire crew don't actually like Drake. They think he's lame, which, as you're starting to notice, is a recurring theme. All these rappers secretly think their peers are all lame as hell. Even though Future thought Drake was lame, he still needed him.
Tim wouldn't clear the song. They just completely said no.
Thames didn't clear the sample for Future, but Drake got involved and blessed it. How did I know that? He told me that motherfucking Gunna finna die and basically told me that they don't fuck with Drake, but they had to put Drake on the song.
Drake also hosted Future's entire release party at his Toronto mansion. It was all smiles between the two, but with what we know now, the whole time, Future doesn't like Drake. When Drake drops For All the Dogs, there's a song on there that seems to be an ode to his friend Pluto, but just read between the lines and the message is clear. Drake is describing a girl he once saw with Future, a girl that he then slept with as payback for Future doing the exact same thing to him. Future later accuses Drake of pillow talking about him to women and also calls him a fake friend. But let's go back to ATL Jacob for a second, because the fact that Future's own producer was running to academics says everything about the state of his entire operation. Jacob was claiming Future doesn't write his own music, that he had ghostwritten some songs for him.
Future, the whole ass nigga gonna tell me he wrote some hooks for you. Nigga, I sit back and listen to y'all just slime y'all niggas out. Man, I gave Future this whole song. Future was drunk, he was high in the studio. I played the whole song, he just sung it over. Ain't no way.
He spoke about Future's sexual assault allegations to academics out of all people. The dumbest thing to do. It's because ATL Jacob was disgruntled about something.
You fucking hoe ass nigga, you showed up in front of my face complaining about all the niggas you claim doing you wrong. You basically told me, nigga, I was your therapist that day, nigga. He told me Rick Ross live in the hood. Future trying to like hold him on some points. Future. Anything that come out about you in the next 6 months, ATL Jacob set you up for this.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, but then like like these things happen. Like once you start using women, bro, like this type of shit happens, bro. Like it's a sick and twisted world, man. It's a sick and twisted world, man. Very sick and twisted world, man. Okay, let's watch this Drake and OVO, because I don't know what happens to these two. Like, these guys were like BFFs. Best friends forever. BFF. Best friends forever. Let's tap into the Drake and 40 video and see what's happening.
To many of us, the decline in Drake's music is directly tied to the disappearance of his right-hand man. Why do they no longer work with each other like they used to? Is there a secret beef between them? What really happened between Drake and 40? I don't know what I would do if 40 wasn't here. I don't go anywhere without him. Drake said that in 2013, right in the middle of making Nothing Was the Same. For his third album, Noah, aka 40, was challenging Drake harder than ever.
My right-hand partner in music creation challenged me on this album to trim the fat, you know, to make a very concise project. You know, it actually gave me a song cap.
That's what people forget when they talk about 40. He wasn't just behind the boards. He was in the room making decisions, steering the ship. That kind of creative pressure and input made 40 much more than just Drake's engineer and producer.
You know, he is not only my friend and not only my partner, but he's also a mentor to me.
40's my road manager, 40's my engineer, 40's been my assistant, 40's been my best friend, 40's been my
Two child actors who fell in love with music at a time when nobody took them seriously. Drake was the kid on Degrassi, and 40 had acted on a couple TV shows.
They were sitting couch across from each other. I said, you guys got a lot in common, because they're both child actors. And from there, that relationship that blossomed between them was absolutely brilliant.
Music wasn't supposed to be their thing, but it's what they cared about more than anything else. And when they found each other, something clicked almost immediately. The music they started making together was different, and they had a kind of chemistry you couldn't explain. Not too long after they met, Drake was flown out to Atlanta by Lil Wayne.
I'll never forget, like, the first time I was like, well, look, the way I work is I need 40 here. I remember CJ being like, yo, what? We're gonna book this guy's boy a flight to come there. Like, just tell him to get in the booth with who we got here, you know? Why are we booking this boy a flight? But Wayne, you know, Wayne stood up for me, and he's like, yo, get him whatever he needs.
From that moment, they went on a 12-year run that ends with Drake being the artist of the decade. Seeing that slowly fade over the years, to the point where they're barely in the studio together anymore. That's very sad if you're a fan of what they built. So what actually happened?
Like a personal relationship with him. Do you feel like the relationship has changed? I mean, if you're around less clearly.
Yeah, I mean, it changes over the years. I think everyone's personal relationships do. So I mean, like, even if I don't talk to him for a few weeks, like, we don't flinch, you know. You know, he's in good hands. Noel's a killer, and everything's still moving forward, like, in a workspace.
Unfortunately, they've only gotten more distant since that interview. A lot of people online think the separation is because of the claim that Pusha T made. After exposing Drake for having a child, he later alleged the information came from 40 through a girl that he was seeing.
The information came from 40. It didn't come from Kanye. 40 is sleeping with a woman. He talks to her daily, 5-6 hours a day.
If this is true, it wouldn't be the first time he'd reveal private information about Drake and OVO. Back in the day, he told academics some things he wasn't supposed to, and was also about to go an everyday struggle.
All right, so one of the people we have invited or who wanted to come on the show but things unfortunately didn't work out was 40.
40 canceled, man.
Ain't work out. All the fucking
Shout out,
things,
let's get
man.
themselves
Nigga
up.
wasn't coming up here. I knew he wasn't coming up here.
Drake didn't like that and had to check him for speaking on private business.
The conversation I had with 40, I probably shouldn't even told y'all. Like, I could tell y'all after that conversation, me and 40, we talked afterwards, and he made sure I wasn't going to say certain parts because, you know what I mean, Drake checked him.
But I don't believe it. I don't think that's the real reason. The Pusha T claim could be true, but I think he could have just said it to play mind games with Drake. The real answer is simple and heartbreaking. 40 was diagnosed with MS at 22 years old, and it changed everything.
What's MS now?
I woke up one day and one of my legs wasn't quite the same. So I ended up in the hospital probably later that night. And I think that was about a week before my 22nd birthday. And so I ended up being in the hospital, being diagnosed with MS on my birthday.
MS is one of the most unpredictable diseases there is. Doctors told him he'd be in a wheelchair within 5 years, and the treatment meant to slow it down, put him through pain that was almost as bad as the disease itself.
I used to take an injection 3 times a week. It was horrible. It was horrible. But it made me violently ill for 24 hours. It gave me immunoresponse, right? For 24 hours, I would be bedridden, like couldn't get out of bed. So I went from having a 7-day week to a 4-day week because I lost 3 days. So like that's how violent that medication was.
That's the reality 40 was living with. While he was still traveling the world, spending sleepless nights in the studio for many years without much rest.
I couldn't walk, so I was in a wheelchair for a bit. Then I was heavy on a cane, like stepping 3 inches at a time. Sometimes that episode reoccurs, so I often was walking with a cane for months of the year.
Knowing he had MS actually made him go harder, which didn't help his condition at all. They were setting up studios in different cities, living out of tour buses and barely sleeping, putting in the kind of obsessive work that made Drake who he is today. And in the back of their minds the whole time was 40's condition. It pushed them to go even harder because they knew time wasn't promised. Here's a clip from an MTV documentary where Drake and 40 were finishing their first album.
It's interesting. It's almost like pushing the human body to its extreme limits.
6 years later, in 2016, they were still putting in the same amount of work for views. Drake still had the same mindset and dedication.
Like something unpredictable happens where I have to travel. It's just tough. It sounds like doable, but it's tough unless we really are sitting in here. I'm talking about like no life. Like we will have no life. So I'm ready though. I really don't have anything I'd rather do. I get no.
Imagine the type, imagine the type of dedication Drake actually put into his craft, dog. And for y'all to be hating on my boy, come on, man, get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, this puzzle. It's a puzzle, you know.
A lot of you guys have been asking me for the beats I use in these videos. I appreciate the love. If you're interested in them, just email me. Back to the video.
I'm sorry, I don't need to
Eventually,
answer.
40 had to put his health first. He could no longer travel and go on tour with Drake, so Noel, his longtime assistant, stepped in as the main engineer on the road.
Making changes like not being a superstar beside Drake traveling around the world, but taking care of myself and sleeping at an appropriate hour. Hence why I'm no longer the engineer, everybody.
Nice.
But yes, that was a difficult decision because although it wasn't mine.
This gave him time to go back home, where he built the state-of-the-art studios, what would become the OVO headquarters, a place that was fully his, somewhere he could work without the physical demands of constant travel.
We're standing in state-of-the-art studios. Sonically, I don't think there's anyone better at what they do than this man, so you can only imagine if he built this from the ground up, how it sounds. And I encourage you to go listen to our album, and you'll see why it sounds better than everything else, because 40's a genius.
His home was literally at the studio, so he didn't have to go anywhere. And for a while, the timing actually worked in their favor. Drake went back home to Toronto for the first time in years to make views, which meant they could be in the same room again without anyone having to leave.
I thought it was really important to make the album here during the winter. I didn't run away from it. I didn't like go to Miami or LA just because I can. I came here and made the album. When me and 40 lock in, we really lock in and we take it very serious, and it's not some like rush job.
They were able to keep that going for a few more years, but by around 2020, they had to start working remotely. And here's the thing, 40's gift was never really about producing on every track. His gift was his presence, just the fact that he was there in the room. being brutally honest, and pushing Drake in ways no one else can. That was his greatest contribution, beyond just being a musical genius. I'll give you a perfect example. Before Love Now Cry Later even came out, 40 said that it was a good record, but the chorus wasn't infectious enough to dominate.
Are you honest with him about what you think are weaker links on the album? I mean, how do those conversations go?
Like Laugh Now, Cry Later, and it's still yet to be seen what that record is. I told him my read was it will be a lot of people's favorite song on the album. It's that good, but I don't think it has as strong of a chorus as say like Hold On We're Going Home, or Controlla, or One Dance, or Hotline Bling, or God's Plan, or like he's got big radio hits that sit at the top of the chart for an extended period of time. I don't necessarily believe Laugh Now, Cry Later is going to sit at the top of the chart for an extended period of time. It might sit there for 5 weeks plus, but now I'd be surprised if anything longer. I'd be surprised even at that. So like I'll go as that far to be critical of a record, you know?
He knew it wouldn't work like Drake's previous singles, and he was completely right. That willingness to say this isn't good enough for our standards, that's what Drake lost when 40 stopped being in the room. For Certified Lover Boy, he mixed and added onto the production after the fact, but he wasn't really locked in like the previous albums. The records he did fully produce on the record are notably some of the best on there, and that tells you everything you need to know. After that album, they started working way less.
I still do all of the things that I've sort of always done with and for Drake from the very beginning. The only
Damn, bro,
difference is
who have I had, like, who have I been working with? I won't lie, bro. I'm really like a hermit in a way, dog. Like, I really just be tweaking and doing stuff on my own, bro. Which one knows my best records, though? Like, that's up for debate, though. It's up
do
for
it from a
debate.
distance now.
Yo, you want me to just play it and you can tell me where you want the ad-lib to go?
What's that? The okay?
Yeah.
So it goes here. Okay.
Oh, okay. Got you.
When I let go of being his engineer always, and then Noel took that position, that's when I was able to remain here and not have to follow him around the world at all times, right?
Was it hard to let go?
100%. It was the hardest thing ever to let go.
Honestly, Nevermind hardly had any of 40's touches outside of mixing and rounding up the songs at the end. Same as
Trash album.
Paradox and anything else Drake dropped after that.
Our brother 40, he hasn't been feeling well lately. I don't know if you know much about 40, but you know 40's been sick for a long time in his life. So what I want you to do is just take a moment. Let's just make some noise, show some love to our brother 40. Of course, we love him.
I'm guilty of criticizing Drake's lack of passion and quality in his newer music without really seeing what's been happening behind the scenes. Drake no longer has the man he built his catalog with, and he always said he never saw himself doing it without him. That loss is bigger than what people give him credit for, because 40 was the person keeping Drake accountable long before any of the success arrived.
Drake is unstoppable because no one can tell him no, because he knows he's got me. When nobody believed it was gonna happen, I was telling people it was gonna happen, and I believed it enough to quit my job and spend money I didn't have. There was a lot going on, and I knew I couldn't remember it all. I was like, I better start recording this. I was like, I'm not gonna keep a journal, so I might as well just buy a camera and start taping it. And it happened, and I got the footage to prove it all the way from day one.
When Drake was spending money they didn't have, renting cars, trying to keep up with appearances, 40 was the one calling him out on not focusing on the music. Drake would show up late to sessions because he was with a girl. And one time, 40 literally kicked him out the studio. He told him to go home, get his head right, and come back the next day ready to actually work. That's how much he believed in Drake. That kind of partner is literally irreplaceable.
It's funny, I had pretty good intuition knowing how far Drake could potentially go as an artist, but I never had the same thoughts for myself or imagined that I'd be here today.
So it makes sense that Drake has also reached his limit.
That's the same with Drake. I learned when I hang with him, when I started hanging with him a lot, he rarely listens to music versus, except for like when he's recording, you know?
Yeah.
In his daily life.
That's a sign of a man who no longer has any desire to get better. The hunger that once made him obsessive about sound, about lyrics, about staying ahead, it's not there anymore. Music just isn't the focal point of Drake's life like it once was, and us as fans still wanting the same Drake is asking for a lot. He's done everything. He's literally broken every record worth breaking. When it's all said and done, they did it. Two child actors who nobody took seriously turned themselves into some of the greatest of all time. The music will live on forever.
That's the name of the track. Nah, man, shout out, man. Also, that's what happened between him. I thought they had like a fallout because of something that happened between like there was a fallout over a girl or some shit. But I'm glad that's not what happened, and it's because like Brody just got sick. That means they can potentially work together again, bro. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Future presents himself as.
I know Playboy Cardi, he be like. I know Playboy Cardi, he be on your track, and then when it starts about like, nah man, remove
on
that
your way
shit.
up, because you'll meet them again on your way down.
Shout out,
And when
Shaq.
it comes to Cardi, that phrase feels more prophetic with each passing year. Cardi has left a trail of burnt bridges in nearly every chapter of his rise. He's built a reputation for being unreliable and disloyal. Now in the music industry, there are a lot of pretenders, a lot of faking for the camera. Someone promising to do a feature and not coming through is a normal practice. Artists tell each other all the time they need to lock in, and most of the time it never actually happens. But Cardi takes things a step further. He doesn't just pretend. He'll actually get into the studio with people, record 4 verses, only to later refuse to clear the song when it's
Yeah.
time to release.
He did it. Like that's the one thing about Playboy Cardi. Like Playboy Cardi, he's the type of guy to be like, we're gonna do a song, record the song. Then when it's time for the song to drop, be like, nah, dog, don't drop that shit. I'ma like remove my verse from that shit, dog. Like he has done that shit so many times. He did it to Drake. He did it to so many people, bro. Like Playboy Cardi just has a terrible track record of reliability.
Did it again? He did it again. How many times have we seen him not clear a feature?
Cardi didn't like his mix, I guess, and had Interscope block it in the last hour. It was supposed to come out tomorrow, and I found this out yesterday.
Now we have Drake previewing a song, No Face. He drops it officially.
There's
Playboy
no
Cardi's not
Cardi.
on it. Preview version had Playboy Cardi on it. Playboy Cardi was not on the official release version. Why?
Cardi has refused to clear songs for A$AP Rocky, Drake, Trippie
Yo,
Redd,
even A$AP Rocky, dog, come on.
Tyler, Kid Cudi, Offset, and many others. A lot of these artists are people who have helped elevate him. He used those moments to boost his status, but when it was time to return the favor, he switched up on them. You will see this pattern as we go along in the video. Offset previewed a track with Cardi before his album dropped. The fans were excited for the song, but when release day came, it wasn't on the album.
Why didn't Playboy Cardi clear the song for the album? That's a rumor online. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. Shout out to my boy, man. See, because I don't get into it with niggas about music. Sometimes people be going through their own, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to bro, though, man.
That's fucked
Should have
up.
cleared that motherfucker. Smashed, though. I'm, like, trying to move forward. It's cool. Like, I got some shit at the end of the day, so.
It turned out Cardi refused to clear the feature, but a year later, the same song surfaced on Nav's album. Cardi strategically cleared it for Nav because Nav is under XO, and Cardi has gotten extremely close to The Weeknd and XO's inner circle. He and Metro Boomin have signed some sort of management deal with them, which is why we see them with each other all the time now.
When did you and The Weeknd and like the whole Cash Show and Nav first link?
Cash was always rocking with me for years. Cash will always stay in touch. Like they weren't managing me or anything yet. We just built like a bond and just a rapport just from there. And then, you know, we just started really doing business together and it just snowballed into that.
This is why Cardi has multiple songs with The Weeknd, and they're even on tour together. He'd much rather clear the song for Nav because it benefits him much more at this point. While Offset chose to take the high road when Cardi refused to clear the collaboration, others made their disappointment loud and clear. Cardi was introduced to Kid Cudi through Kanye, and he quickly asked him to be on his album Whole Lotta Red, and that's how they became friends. He then asked Kid Cudi to interview him for one of his magazine interviews because he wanted to stand next to a legend. In his own words in that interview, he said he only featured people on his album that he wanted cosigns from. These are the people I'm trying to impress, the people I want the cosign from. Future, Ye, and Kid Cudi. Months later, Kid Cudi previewed a new song with him and Cardi. But when a fan asked him if Cardi would be featured on his album, he didn't sugarcoat anything. He won't clear it, which is very weak.
Did you notice how he did not clear the Kid Cudi feature, and then he cleared the Weeknd feature?
Bro.
It's just a better look. Like, the Weeknd's one of the biggest stars in the music industry, so of course.
When his album Chromacopia dropped, the vinyl and CD included a Cardi verse that didn't appear on streaming services.
I remember
On the
Tyler
last song of the
Creator.
album, Tyler spoke about somebody suing him for $1 million, and then again on Clips' new album, which he verified with the tweet. Only then did we realize Cardi's the one who threatened to sue him for not removing the feature on his album.
Is Cardi gonna be on the final version of the vinyl?
As it turns out, he refused to clear the feature after the physical copies had already been pressed. They were not about to waste all that money by scrapping product that's already been made just to appease Cardi and his team. They would much rather settle, which Tyler seems to confirm he settled at $1 million on the outro.
Sure, bruh. But why, bro? But then again, bro. He did Tyler Creator dirty. Bitch sued for $1 million trying to work me. Said it at $1 million cause that million couldn't hurt me. It didn't hurt me. Nah, it ain't hurt shit. Sent that motherfucking wire. Did a backflip. It's just a game, bro. The dogs of the game, bro.
I understand it's business, but suing a friend for a song you went into the studio and recorded with them and then initially approved as shady. That's not just business. That's kind of betrayal. Especially after all the love and opportunities he's given you. Cardi gets close to someone powerful, extracts the moment he needs, and then moves on. I just saw a video of Jim Jones telling the world he did a song with Cardi. Somebody needs to tell him that song will not see the light of day.
I'm flying. I did a record with Playboy Cardi last night. Girl, big VL shit. You dig? Shit locked in.
He doesn't. If only he knows that boy infinite clear it.
With Metro Boomin, Playboy Cardi. It's crazy. Playboy Cardi came in the booth, smoked that shit. I look forward to that drop, man.
There have been rumors about growing tension between Cardi and A$AP Rocky. Tension that neither of them have ever fully addressed, but has somewhat played out publicly. Back in 2021, Rocky previewed a new song featuring Cardi at a festival. Then a year later, he teased a full track with Cardi, completed with a music video. Everything about it seemed official. I mean, Cardi was even heard shouting out Rocky on the record. But then things took a strange turn. Instead of supporting it, Cardi and his team went hostile. His affiliates started tweeting negatively about Rocky and the song. One of them even tweeted, "Fuck A$AP Rocky and that ASAP shit." This was coordinated. None of that would have happened without Cardi's stamp of approval. He makes a whole record with them and directly references him on the track. They film a music video together, and then he refuses to clear it. Word started to go around that the reason the song didn't drop was because of sample clearance issues. But that's an excuse that doesn't really hold up. That same year, Fabio Foreign also released a track that sampled Destiny's Child, and it was cleared. So if Fabio could do it, why couldn't A$AP Rocky? Especially since he's managed by Roc Nation.
He could.
This is the man who basically gave Cardi his career.
Type shit.
A$AP Rocky signed him, vouched for him, and opened doors Cardi couldn't have entered on his own. Back then, Cardi was proudly screaming A$AP in every interview. He abandoned the people he came up with.
I was never off of records. Shout out, man. I was never off of
Cardi's
records.
a fake ass
A$AP
nigga,
Mob.
bro.
Yeah, it is what it is. I fuck with Cardi, bro. Only reason like niggas don't fuck with him is because he be doing hella sneak diss and shit. You feel me? Like you don't be talking shit about me and Uno to like Rocky and motherfucking Bari and shit. Like you a bitch, nigga.
He did this to align himself with the A$AP mob because that's where the source was. But now that he is fully blown up, it's a different story.
I always thought I was the shit, but these wasn't niggas I was like getting shit from, you dig?
Another friend of mine who was part of A$AP.
And who was that?
That was Ian. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so he's a part of A$AP, and he's like, yo, you gotta meet Rocky, bro. He's like, he love your music type shit.
How's your relationship with Cardi? Me and him don't even talk like that. Come clean, but this whole time always been helping people, put them on a higher scale than me.
Eventually, Rocky came out and said that Cardi's still family. He's still a part of Org. But of course he'd say that. He's never been the type to air out what really goes on behind the scenes in A$AP.
That was brothers going to the internet, and I don't really condone that. Like, internet's, like, if you got a beef or if you got, you know, a disagreement with a nigga, like, you know what I'm saying, I just think you can handle it in real life. If y'all throw hands, if y'all keep it verbal, whatever the case is, just don't really bring that to the internet.
Playboy Cardi and A$AP Rocky are not cool like that anymore. You don't see that brotherhood energy.
Is A$AP Rocky still involved? Because he originally signed Playboy Cardi.
Correct.
Is Cardi still signed?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Would never leave. That's his guy. He'd never leave. Super loyal. Cardi's that guy too. He's like that. Shut the fuck up with that shit.
Okay.
But it's not just artists who go through this. His producers have felt it too.
Yo, Pierre, you wanna come out here?
locked in for years, but by the time Whole Lotta Red dropped, his presence had been reduced. Despite working on the album for years, he barely had a footprint on the final project. How does it go from Locked In for Life to Pierre not being allowed into the studio? Same thing happened with Richie Soph. He spent years working closely with Cardi, only to be left behind without a moment's notice. He later went on to warn other producers to be smarter so they don't have to go through what had happened to him. Cardi makes people feel like family, like they're building something real. But when he finds a new producer, a new friend, a new crew, he cuts ties completely. He may still be climbing, but the way he's treated people along the way has left behind a trail of resentment. A trail of people who feel used, misled, and abandoned. And if that old saying holds true, Cardi might soon find himself face to face with every bridge he thought he could walk away from. Be careful how you treat people on your way up, because you'll meet them again on your way down.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah, but Cardi Vele, he's the type of a guy to hop on a song and after that he's not even gonna drop the song, bro. He's not gonna clear the record, bro. Gold shot.
Dog trying to sell you a hat. Huh? Dog trying to sell you a hat. Can't wear that shit, man. Cannot wear that shit. That nigga trying to cancel. Hey, you cancel, brother.
Trump hat. I want to get paid for picking up it. Right, you're a journalist. I ain't getting other money for your contents.
I ain't making no money, man.
Right, she's going to use me for contents, but they don't give me none of the money.
I'm a brother, man.
Ain't no brother just left here.
Let the brother, man.
You get all the clicks and blicks, but they don't give me none of the damn money.
You on some jiggler.
What's up, man? You know what I mean? I smoke weed. I'll smoke.
You on some jiggly ain't shit.
Your body spread looking ass.
Where this nigga's going, bro? You're not on the intellectual plane. Which other one, John?
I just talk about it. You dream it. I live it. The thing is this. You're not on the intellectual plane. You understand what I'm saying? You haven't got a ticket to the flight.
You haven't got a flight.
You understand what I'm saying? You haven't got a... You're not on the intellectual plane. You understand what I'm saying? You haven't got a ticket to the flight. You're at the boarding gate. You understand what I'm saying? No, sir. My only thing is... Wait, let's continue here.
I know it's disrespectful, bro. Not as disrespectful.
Thought that we were done with this back and forth between Drake and Kendrick. But there's rumors going around that Drake on his new album is going to be dissing Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and a host of other people. And on some level, I understand it if that's the case, because everybody went against Drake. It seemed like Rick Ross jumped out the window against Drake. It seemed like a lot of people, when Kendrick stood up and planted that flag and said, hey, it's time to go to war with Drake,
everybody just came
that
on
a lot of people that you thought would be on Drake's side kind of flipped on him. you know. And so I understand if Drake is upset about that, but I don't know if I want to hear a Drake and Kendrick Lamar back and forth anymore. Now I know they're probably gonna always take little shots at each other.
Nota says it's disabled. What?
The combo doesn't stand a chance, unfortunately, because the people, the human resources that it relies on, are degenerates. Like the people, the culture of the people. The biggest stars in Limpopo right now, Shebe Shit, a degenerate, a criminal, you understand? Who came out of jail, messed up his chance. Do you understand what I'm saying? What's this other one? Skomota, the compo DJ. Skomota, what is he? He's like disturbed in some way or shape or form. He's like a disabled guy who's being taken advantage of by every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I mean, I'm just giving you an example of your people.
Just get to the point.
That's the whole entire point.
Okay.
The compo doesn't stand a chance, unfortunately, because the people, the human resources that it relies on, are degenerates. Like the people, the culture of the people. You can say Zulus are degenerates. Not countries got Inzula who know nothing, they're dumb, they're stupid. But you listen to the songs that they're writing. They're writing about social issues. They're writing about things that are uplifting. The compo doesn't stand a chance, unfortunately, because the people, the human...
This looks like a house on Courage the Cowardly Dog. I ain't gonna lie. What did El Tito do, Nota? Nota reveal information about El Tito. What is he saying?
Yo, ask El Tito who he was with on the toilet when he broke the toilet seat. That was 18 years ago. June 21st. Alright, yo, ask El Tito who he was with on the toilet.
I don't get it. I still remember you. I still remember you. The NBA is going back to jail again. Nah, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Wait, this can actually be some gold content right here.
Hello, Cinder. I've traded my schedule for the new spritzer. An infusion of zesty orange flavoring and
Your probation is determining how you feel right now.
I'm kind of scared, but it feel good.
NBA Youngboy and Ben 10 go all the way back. So when Ben 10 caught bullets in Houston, the whole rap world started asking one question. With Youngboy's history of probation trouble tied to Ben 10, fans want to know what this shooting really means for him now, because what comes next could change everything.
It's cooked.
Houston shooting that started it all. On the night of Wednesday, April 8, 2026, a shooting went down at a restaurant called Confessions in Houston's Upper Kirby area. The spot is on the 3,200 block of Kirby Drive. About 20 to 30 people were inside that night, eating and hanging out. Some were customers and some were staff. There There was even a small group there for a birthday. Around 11:15 to 11:35 at night, a fight broke out inside the restaurant. According to Houston Police Lieutenant R. Wilkins, a group of people walked up on a man and tried to rob him for his chains and jewelry. The man they tried to rob was a Detroit rapper named All-Star Jr., whose real name is Jeremy Ford. The fight got out of hand fast. It went on for almost a whole minute. All-Star Jr. got knocked to the ground. People were on top of him, hitting him. Then he pulled out a gun and started firing. When the smoke cleared, 2 men were down. One of them was Ben Anthony Fields, the Baton Rouge rapper everybody knows as NBA Ben 10. He got hit multiple times in the torso. The other man was hit in his arms, his legs, and other places. Both men were rushed to the hospital in critical condition. That second man has been named in social media reports as Dead End Ron. Now, here's where NBA Youngboy comes into the picture. Ben 10 is not just some random guy who got shot. He is one of Youngboy's closest people. They are like brothers. Ben 10 has been part of the Never Broke Again camp, also called NBA or 4KT, since they were kids in Baton Rouge. Ben 10 has even said this himself in interviews. When asked about how he and Youngboy met, he said it goes back to childhood.
This didn't start with me. That started with YB and 3. This started with them. They brought me in right afterwards. That's how that started.
These guys cannot conduct a proper sentence.
That's something that you a part of, or is you just mess with it? Part of this? Nah, that's me.
So when news broke that Ben 10 was shot up in Houston, all eyes turned to Youngboy. People wanted to see what he was going to do. People also started bringing up Youngboy's history with the law. See, Youngboy has a long past with the courts. He has been on probation more than one time. And one of the conditions of his older probation was that he was not allowed to be around Ben 10. That came up back in 2019. So now, with Ben 10 in the hospital and Youngboy being his closest friend, the rumors started flying. Some people online started saying Youngboy was arrested. Some said he violated probation by trying to be with Ben 10 at the hospital. Some said he was about to be locked back up. The internet ran with it. But before we get into all of that, let's go back to what happened that night and how the shooting went down. The owner of Confessions...
Bro, did you just clickbait me here, bro? This nigga clickbaited me here, bro. Nah, this nigga clickbaited me, bro. Man, Mita's trying so hard to destroy my boy Drake. That's not my chance, but fit. What are they saying about my boy Cole?
I get calls every week from record labels offering to pay me a lot of money to talk about shit that I don't care about.
And actually, what y'all are speaking about is bought and paid by paid campaigns or motherfucking bots or
we gonna have to cut some out.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Drake, Cole, the industry is playing with your name. Now for context.
Hey, bro. Why are you playing throwing Simba behind? Because now I'm gonna get copyrighted, nigga. Ugh, bro. Some things are just irritating. He's playing level devil. Bro got a chiller's punch deal. Fuck.
know, one of the most peculiar and yet most inevitable experiences on the path of awakening is the discovery that you are changing in ways that others around you are not. And this creates a very strange predicament. It's rather like what happens when a caterpillar begins to transform into a butterfly while still surrounded by caterpillars who are quite content to remain caterpillars. Now, I want to talk about this because it's something that almost everyone who begins to wake up will encounter. And it can be one of the most isolating, confusing, and yes, dangerous experiences you'll face. Not dangerous in the sense that you'll come to physical harm necessarily, though that...
Wait, hold up. How long have I been streaming? Does this shit even say how long have I been streaming? Doesn't even say. Oh, 1 hour 42 minutes. Alright, sweet. Let me find some content to actually watch, man. Let me find some shit I actually want to watch. Can't stop gooning. The philosopher was too dangerous to be alive. Who's this?
1960. Albert Camus, one of the most influential writers of 20th century, who won the Nobel Prize just 2 years earlier, is sitting in a car driving through the French countryside. His best friend Michel is driving the car, and then suddenly the car goes off the road and slams into a tree. Camus did not survive. But what seemed like an accident at first, later investigations pointed towards a story of conspiracy, possibly a murder of the most popular author in Europe at the time, because in his pocket they found a train ticket. A ticket for the very train he was supposed to take that day. So why was he in that car instead? Who made him change his plans? And why? And tell me, can a car that expensive really lose control on a straight, empty road all by itself? But here's the real mystery. How does a man who died 65 years ago still holds an entire generation in his grip with his words? A generation of people like me, with attention spans of a goldfish. But we're getting too ahead of ourselves. To understand Camus,
Can't stop gooning. That's shred. Inferno Cave.
Labored and insufficient, as if he couldn't get enough air into his lungs despite breathing normal. However, this time both stories take place in the same cave, in the same year, and went horribly wrong for the same exact reason.
What?
Only the second incident was far worse than the first. As always, viewer discretion is advised. In early June 1988, a caving team made a discovery in Hicks Cave, Kentucky, that should have served as a warning to everyone. What they found in a previously flooded pit would become a curious attraction for teams throughout that summer. But this was more than just an interesting geological curiosity. It was a death trap waiting to claim victims, and by October of that same year, it would showcase its true colors. Hicks Cave is part of the Hidden River Complex in Kentucky, an extensive 20-mile-long system of essentially horizontal passages that extends into the Sinkhole Plain south of the Green River, upstream from Mammoth Cave National Park. Unlike the vertical caves that require rope work and technical climbing, Hicks Cave is primarily walking and crawling passages that wind for miles through the limestone bedrock. The J Survey section of Hicks Cave is located far from the Green River entrances, deep within the system where survey teams have been methodically mapping passages for over a decade. This This area featured a stream that normally rose around Station J, 278, and flowed along the passage before dumping into what caving experts called a slump pit at Station J, 247, an 8 by 7 foot depression in the mud floor of the cave. From 1976 through 1987, approximately 15 different survey parties had passed by this slump pit during their mapping expeditions. Every single one of them had observed the same thing, a pool of water at least 2 feet deep at the bottom of the pit, with no apparent continuation beyond. The water-filled pit seemed to be nothing more than a low spot where the stream collected before presumably draining slowly through cracks in the bedrock. There was no reason to investigate further, and certainly no reason to climb down into standing water in a mud-floored depression. But the spring of 1988 brought unusual weather conditions to Kentucky.
Yo, that shit's
A
right
drought
out.
that began in the spring and continued
I
through the
remember watching,
summer
like, a
produced
piece of this
dramatically
video.
low water levels in all the caves throughout the region. Streams that normally flowed year-round were reduced to trickles or dried up completely. Pools that had been permanent features for decades suddenly exposed bedrock that hadn't been seen in living memory. On Memorial Day weekend in 1988, a survey party passed by Station J, 247, and noticed something remarkable. The slump pit that had contained a 2-foot deep pool for as long as anyone could remember was completely dry. The drought had lowered the water table enough that the pit had drained, exposing the mud floor and whatever features might lie beneath the former pool. This discovery was exciting for survey-minded spelunkers. A previously water-filled feature was now accessible, and there was the tantalizing possibility of finding a new passage beyond what had appeared to be a terminal sump. If there was a continuation beneath where the water had been, it could potentially lead to significant new discoveries in the Hidden River complex. In early June, Phil Odell organized and led a team specifically to investigate the newly accessible J247 slump pit. The goal was to determine if there was any passage continuation that had been hidden beneath the water for the past 12 years or more. Odell and his team made their way through the Hicks Cave passages to Station J247, probably excited about the prospect of pushing a new cave. When they reached the slump pit, Odell examined the climb down into the depression. He found it to be relatively easy. The 8 by 7 foot pit wasn't particularly deep or technical, just a matter of carefully lowering yourself down into the mud-floored depression. At the bottom, beneath an overhanging section of flowstone, Odell could see what looked like a promising lead, a passage approximately 3 feet high by 1 to 2 feet wide. This was definitely worth investigating.
Get 400 grams of Spur ribs for just $149.90. Spur, people with a taste for life.
Odell descended into the slump pit to get a closer look at the potential continuation. He reached the bottom of the pit and began examining the low passage beneath the flowstone overhang. But within seconds of reaching the bottom, something went terribly wrong. Odell was using a carbide lamp as his source of light. Carbide lamps produce a steady white flame that provides excellent light for caving. But suddenly, Odell's lamp flame changed dramatically. The normal white flame turned bright yellow and extended to an abnormal length of 6 to 8 inches. Even more strangely, the base of the flame was positioned about 2 inches away from the lamp's orifice, rather than directly at the gas outlet. This bizarre flame behavior was an immediate warning sign that something was wrong with the atmosphere in the pit. Before Odell could fully process what he was seeing, he began experiencing physical symptoms. In less than a minute, he became dizzy. His breathing felt labored and insufficient, as if he couldn't get enough air into his lungs despite breathing normally. His coordination deteriorated rapidly, and he found himself bouncing off the passage walls as he tried to move. Odell's experience and training kicked in despite his impaired state. He recognized that he was in bad air, an atmosphere with insufficient oxygen or excessive carbon dioxide or other gases. He knew that he needed to get out of the pit immediately before the symptoms progressed to unconsciousness or worse. Odell quickly climbed back up out of the slump pit to the J survey passage level, where the air quality was normal. His companions helped him as he emerged from the pit, probably concerned by his obvious distress and disorientation. Odell sat in the better air and focused on breathing deeply, allowing his body to recover from the brief exposure to the bad atmosphere. After several minutes of breathing normal air, Odell's symptoms subsided. His breathing returned to normal, the dizziness faded, and his coordination improved. He had been fortunate to recognize the danger quickly and extract himself before suffering more severe effects from the bad air. To confirm and demonstrate what Odell had experienced, one of his companions conducted a simple test. He placed a candle on the floor of the slump pit and watched what happened. The flame was extinguished in just 15 seconds, dramatic proof that the atmosphere at the bottom of the pit was incapable of supporting combustion and therefore incapable of supporting human life for any extended period. Following this incident, Tom Allers compiled a detailed accident report documenting Odell's experience. The report prompted research into what exactly was happening in the J247 slump pit. Odell and others conducted library research and consulted with State of Kentucky mining experts and water specialists to understand the atmospheric conditions they had encountered. The conclusion was that the air in the slump pit was high in carbon dioxide and dangerously low in oxygen. The depression was essentially acting as a trap for heavy gases, particularly carbon dioxide, which is denser than normal air and tends to collect in low-lying areas with poor circulation. The drought conditions that had drained the water from the pit had also exposed this atmospheric hazard that had been masked by the standing water for over a decade. Throughout the summer of 1988, the J247 slump pit became something of an attraction for survey parties working in that section of Hicks Cave. Teams would stop at Station J247 specifically to demonstrate the bad air phenomenon. It became an educational stop on survey trips. But what was treated as an interesting curiosity and teaching opportunity during the summer would become the site of nightmare in October. The bad air that had been demonstrated safely from the rim of the pit would reveal its true self. The warning signs were clear, the danger was known and documented, but the J247 slump pit wasn't finished claiming attention from the caving community. On October 8th, 1988, 4 caving experts descended into Hicks Cave in Kentucky. 4 months had passed since Phil Odell's discovery of the bad air at Station J247 in Hicks Cave. Throughout the summer of 1988, that slump pit had become a curiosity, a teaching opportunity where survey teams would stop to demonstrate the atmospheric hazards that could exist in cave systems. But summer had turned to fall, and the drought that had drained the pit and exposed the bad air continued. By October, the atmospheric conditions in that section of Hicks Cave had changed in ways that nobody understood or anticipated. At around noon on Saturday, October 8th, the team of 4 gathered at the WAR entrance to Hicks Cave, several miles south of where the cave's underground rivers resurge into the Green River. The group consisted of Tom Allers, who was 40 years old, and was the one who compiled Odell's accident report in the Hicks Cave system. He was along Duke Hopper, 41, who was equally experienced in exploring and surveying this 20-mile-long maze. With them were Larry Peterson, 40, and Barbara Graham, who at 22 was the youngest member of the group. The war entrance required descending an 85-foot, 26-meter vertical drop to reach the horizontal passages below. The 4 rigged their ropes and descended one by one, leaving their vertical gear at the bottom of the entrance pit. They wouldn't need the rope equipment for the rest of the trip, since Hicks Cave was primarily horizontal walking and crawling passages. The entrance was blowing outward as it typically did in cool weather, creating a chimney effect with the lower entrances on the Green River about 150 feet below. The group had a specific mission for this trip. They planned to collect samples of black material from 2 locations in the cave, one at Station O24 and another from the stream bed that connected stations J278 and J247. These samples would be analyzed to determine if the stream at O24 was related to the stream in the J survey section, which would help map the underground hydrology of the Hidden River complex. The 4 spelunkers made their way through the passages toward their first collection site at O24. They collected their samples there, and then proceeded approximately 2,000 feet further into the cave toward the J survey section. This route required navigating the climb down of the 40-foot high J280 dome, a significant vertical obstacle in an otherwise horizontal cave system. They descended carefully and continued toward their second collection site near Station J247. Station J247 was, of course, the location of the slump pit, where Phil O'Dell had encountered bad air back in June. The pit that had contained a 2-foot deep pool from 1976 through 1987 was still dry from the ongoing drought. The lead beneath the flowstone overhang at the bottom of the pit remained unexplored, though it was reportedly one of the last potential connections to Hidden River Cave further upstream. Hidden River Cave had an infamous reputation in the Kentucky caving community. It was heavily polluted, contaminated by sewage and industrial waste from the town of Horse Cave City. The cave's atmosphere was often described as vile, and the stream that flowed through it carried pollution that eventually discharged into springs in the Green River. There was speculation that the underground water systems were connected, and apparently the lead at the bottom of the J247 slump pit smelled similar to Hidden River Cave. As the four approached Station J247, they stopped approximately 5 to 10 feet short of the slump pit to prepare their sample collection equipment. This positioning was deliberate and cautious, given the known bad air hazard in the pit. They began removing their packs and organizing their gear for the sampling work. Peterson removed his helmet with its attached carbide lamp and set down his pack. Graham also removed her pack. Hopper set aside his ammo box camera case and took off his pack as well. Ochilers removed his right glove. As they were organizing their equipment, someone noticed a smell in the passage, a subtle odor that wasn't petroleum-based and wasn't the distinctive smell of ethyl mercaptan that's added to natural gas. It was described as somewhat like extra strong mold, an unusual scent that none of them could quite identify. Hopper and Allers were positioned nearest to the slump pit, with Peterson and Graham standing about 4 to 5 feet further back up the passage. The group was ready to collect their water sample from the stream that flowed past the pit. Duke Hopper moved toward the slump pit, carrying a sample bottle. His carbide lamp was burning normally, producing the steady white flame. He approached cautiously, aware of the bad air hazard that had been documented 4 months earlier. When he was approximately 2 to 3 feet from the rim of the pit, something extraordinary and terrifying happened. A bright blue fireball suddenly appeared near the ceiling of the passage, directly in front of Hopper's carbide lamp. The fireball was about 2 feet in diameter, hovering in the air like some kind of supernatural phenomenon. Hopper's immediate reaction was confusion. He thought his carbide lamp base had somehow split open or malfunctioned.
That's crazy.
But 2 seconds later, before anyone could process what they were seeing
exploded.
or react to the fireball, the entire area over the slump pit exploded with a tremendous whoosh. The explosion was instantaneous and overwhelming, filling the passage with flames that seemed to materialize from the very air itself. Tom Allers suddenly found himself surrounded by wisps of blue flame dancing in the air around him. Both Allers and Hopper dove backward instinctively, hitting the cave floor hard as the explosion erupted. The blue light from the flames became the
Artlist Studio is here, and it has controls built with video creators in mind, so you can intuitively direct any dream production.
Sole source of illumination in the passage. All 4 carbide lamps had been blown out by the force of the explosion. Barbara Graham and Larry Peterson, standing 4 to 5 feet back from Hopper and Allers, were outside the immediate blast zone of flames, but were so alarmed by what they were witnessing that their survival instincts took over immediately. Without conscious thought, both of them turned and began crawling frantically back up the passage, desperate to put distance between themselves and the inferno that had erupted at the slump pit. Hopper and Allers were engulfed in the flames. They had no idea where to go. The fire kept burning, refusing to die down. It felt like standing in front of a dragon's mouth, a non-stop flamethrower pouring heat at them. Relying only on muscle memory, Hopper and Allers started moving away from the pit blindly. They reached a point where they could finally see each other. but the heat was so extreme that it could take their lives at any moment. They had to act, and they had to act now. Both men realized they were now beneath the flames, pressed against the cave floor where they could still breathe relatively good air. The fire was above them, feeding on gases that were lighter than air, or mixed with the normal atmosphere at ceiling height. But they couldn't stay where they were. The passage was being filled with the rumble of fire. They had to crawl for their lives. Hopper and Allers began crawling back up the passage, keeping their noses pressed to the cave floor, where the air was still breathable. They crawled beneath a ceiling of flames and heat, moving as fast as they could, while staying low enough to avoid the worst of the fire above them. The first 40 feet of their escape was accomplished in this terrifying position, crawling on their bellies with blue flames dancing overhead. Imagine, 40 feet, more than 12 meters. Larry Peterson looked back from where he and Graham had retreated and saw an image that would be burned into his memory forever. Two silhouettes crawling through a wall of flame, their forms barely visible through the fire and heat. He felt a blast of intense heat wash over him, even from where he was positioned, and he continued moving away from the inferno. After crawling 40 to 50 feet from the slump pit, Hopper and Allers paused and looked back at what they had escaped from. The flames weren't following them up the passage, but back at J247, the scene was apocalyptic. The slump pit looked like a giant sterno can, with flames burning wall to wall in the wide passage. A wall of solid blue flame started just a few inches above the top of the slump pit and extended upward, filling the passage. The rumble of the burning gases created a deep, steady roar that echoed through the cave. Hopper had burns, but was able to continue, and Allers noticed that his right hand took a brunt from the explosion. Their two companions had already moved out of sight further up the passage, so Hopper and Allers shared Allers' flashlight, the only functioning light they had between them, and continued heading toward the cave entrance. Peterson and Graham had stopped at a point where the passage gained enough height for walking, rather than crawling. When Hopper and Allers caught up with them, the group took stock of their situation. Allers was the only one who still had his pack, which contained extra carbide fuel and 2 spare flashlights plus an extra carbide lamp. They managed to relight 2 of the carbide lamps that had been blown out by the explosion, giving them adequate light to continue their exit. But much of their equipment had been left behind at the slump pit. The packs, the camera, samples they had collected, various pieces of gear that had been set aside when they were preparing to collect water samples. Nobody wanted to go back to retrieve the abandoned equipment. The slump pit was still burning, filling that section of passage with flames and heat, and none of them had any desire to return to that inferno. They made the decision to abandon the gear and focus on getting out of the cave safely. The group began their exit, retracing the route they had taken into the cave. They climbed back up the 40-foot J280 dome, navigated through the 2,000 feet of passage back toward the O24 area, and eventually reached the bottom of the 85-foot entrance pit. They rigged their rope and ascended one by one back to the surface, emerging from the WAR entrance at approximately 4:30 p.m., 4.5 hours after they had entered the cave that morning. Once on the surface, they examined their injuries. Duke Hopper had burns on his face where the intense heat had affected his exposed skin. Tom Allers discovered that the hair on his right hand had been burned off, and the pain was intense. Both men had been wearing cotton coveralls that had become damp during their time in the cave, and this dampness had actually protected them to some degree. Cotton, especially when damp, is relatively less flammable than synthetic materials, and this probably saved them from more serious burns. The question that haunted all of them as they examined what had happened was, what had exploded? Tom Allers began researching possible explanations for the fireball and subsequent passage fire. One theory was that flammable gases had been driven into Hicks Cave from Hidden River Cave. The previous weekend, the area had received 3 to 4 inches of rain, a significant amount that would have raised water levels throughout the connected cave systems. If Hidden River Cave's contaminated water contained dissolved gases or vapors from the pollution that plagued that system, those gases could have been forced through underground connections into Hicks Cave, accumulating in the low-lying slump pit, where there was insufficient air circulation to disperse them. Another possibility was that one of the natural gas or oil wells in the area was leaking. Kentucky has numerous oil and gas wells, and if one near the cave had developed a leak, methane or other petroleum gases could have migrated through the bedrock into the cave passages, particularly accumulating in areas like the J247 slump pit, where there was minimal air movement. What made this incident particularly alarming was the complete lack of warning before the explosion. In June, when Phil Odell had descended into the pit, his carbide lamp had shown clear signs of bad air. The flame had turned yellow and extended abnormally. But in October, when Hopper approached the pit with his lamp, the flame appeared normal right up until the moment the fireball appeared. There had been only that subtle, unusual smell that nobody could identify. No visual warning from the lamp flame, no other indication that explosive gases were present in high enough concentrations to ignite. The four were also extraordinarily lucky that neither Allers nor Hopper had breathed any of the burning vapors during their escape. The fact that they had stayed low, keeping their faces near the floor where the air was cooler and less contaminated with combustion products, had probably saved their lives. As Tom Allers noted in his accident report, good luck is sometimes the most beneficial factor of all.
Cut off his own leg.
If you have a yellow aura, you're a narcissist.
Okay, let's find out. What type of aura do I have? Take a quiz. What personal insights are you seeking? My color aura. A 2% color aura shades that reveal gifts and balances in life. This just happened. Do you sense the energy of the places you enter? Yeah, I notice it. How do you feel in large crowd? Overwhelmed, too much energy, comfortable? It depends. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed. Do I feel overwhelmed? Not really. Nah, not really. Different. How do you feel during thunderstorm? I don't get anxious and hide. Not sure. Do you instinctively know how to comfort others? Yeah, sometimes. How do you make others feel when you're around you? Energized and empowered, man. Do animals seem unusually drawn to you? Yes, they do. Which element of nature do you feel closest to? Fire, water, earth, air? Coincidence? I don't know. I'm gonna say air. Which color makes you feel most energized to come? Blue. I still got 21 more questions. Fuck. How do you feel when you're in nature? Calm. I feel calm. What's your role when a relationship needs replay? I step back. Are there people with strong auras or powerful energy in your family? Nah, they got weak energy. Born with the rare lights. Not everyone carries a strong aura. Yours makes you stand out. Holding unique energy and potential. Let's uncover strengths only you were meant to hold. I was born with the rare lights. Oh, that's nice to know. How do you express your emotions? I express them creatively. I write music. How do you usually respond after being hurt? I rise, focus on myself, I stay calm, I reflect and move in silence. I rise and focus on myself, true. What do you see in this picture first? The first figure you notice in this image may reveal the kind of aura you carry. A bird. Your aura is ready to speak. Noticing the bird shows that your energy is already tuned to subtle signals. Keep going to uncover how your aura reveals guidance and hidden strengths. Okay. Do you feel most alive when the sun rises or sets? How do I feel when the sun rises? Yeah. It's sunrise. Let's get this money. That's my first thought. Do you ever notice any of these signals or patterns? Recurring numbers, nature messages, dream messages. Yeah, dream messages. I be dreaming a lot. How often do the moon phases affect your emotions or actions? Rarely. Do you get goosebumps when something feels meaningful? Yeah. Do you experience vivid or lucid dreams? Yes, I often remember them clearly. Now I remember them clearly. Which practice help you connect with your inner self? Meditation, readings, numerology, manifestations. I wonder where this shit is going, bro. How familiar are you with tools that increase your energy? Not familiar. I don't even know how to answer this question. How do you feel most empowered when helping others, when achieving my goals, when I'm in a creative flow, when achieving my goals, bro? How do you approach self-care and personal growth? With focus on my body, soul, with trust in my inner wisdom, with the desire to explore. Trust in my inner wisdom. Where do you feel most at peace? In a forest, by the water, in an open field, in a cozy room? I'm usually locked in. Do you feel a strong sense of higher purpose? Yes. Do you believe your birth date holds clues about your abilities? Of course. Aquarius, baby. What's your date of birth? I wanna. You see now. Now I must reveal myself. Fuck. Now I gotta reveal myself. Come on, bro. Ish, how can I hide this shit? I can't hide it, bro. I hope nobody from my stream is allowed. Let's scan your palm to reveal your honor. Your palm reflect the energy by reading. Well, let's do it. Take a photo of your left palm as instructed. Should I put it here? Yabona napeta manje. Oh, allow. Where do I place my palm, bro? Bro, like, should I put it here? Where should I put my palm? And then tag you in it. Bro, there's like nothing, bro. Like nothing is happening. Scam.
Today, we will be looking at two horrifying stories that went horribly wrong. Both stories shared one brutal truth. Survival came at the cost of a limb. The choice was absolute: stay and die, or live on, forever marked by what had to be left behind. As always, viewer discretion is advised. On the morning of Friday, September 19th, 2014, a 26-year-old man named Senolo Shadrach Rosello drove out from Johannesburg and parked near the Rustenburg Kloof Resort at the foot of the Magaliesberg. He was not a mountaineer. He was not a spelunker with a team and equipment and a logged itinerary. He was a young man from Johannesburg who had a reason to be there that mattered to him, and so he went. The way people have always gone into mountains with personal reasons. Without announcing it, without anyone waiting for him, alone with whatever it was he was looking for. The Magaliesberg is an old country, and there is a range of mountains about an hour northwest of Johannesburg that South Africans have been visiting for a long time, for reasons that have nothing to do with adventure tourism. The Magaliesberg consists of sandstone ridges and narrow gorges, streams that run cold even in summer, the kind of landscape that accumulates meaning over generations, and holds it the way stone holds heat, long after the source of it is gone. Some people go there for hiking. Some go because the rock formations are worth looking at. And some go quietly, alone, because the streams that run through the mountain crevices are believed by certain communities to carry something beyond water, a quality, a presence, something that the word holy is as good an approximation of as any. Rosello moved through that terrain looking for the water he had come for. He found the streams. He found the gorges. The mountain was giving him exactly what he had come looking for, and there was no reason at that point, no signal, no warning, nothing in the landscape that would have told him to stop or turn back, to think that the morning was going to become anything other than what he had intended it to be. He was picking his way along the rocky cliff face above the resort, somewhere in the narrow terrain between the gorge walls, when a snake appeared on the path directly in front of him. He startled. His body reacted before his brain caught up. The sudden flinch backward and sideways that happens when something unexpected appears at close range, and every instinct fires at once. His footing shifted. His weight went the wrong way. He slipped. His right foot went down between two large rocks on the cliff face and jammed into the gap. He could not pull it free. He pulled. Nothing happened. He repositioned himself as best he could and pulled again, harder, putting his full effort into wrenching the foot free. The rock didn't move, didn't shift, didn't give him a millimeter. The gap had taken his foot at exactly the angle that worked most completely against extraction. His own body weight hanging below the trapped foot, pressing down with every attempt to pull upward, locking it in tighter the harder he tried. He stopped and took stock of where he was. He was alone on a cliff face in the Magaliesberg Mountains. There was no trail visible from his position, no other hikers, no sound except the water moving through the gorge below, and the wind coming off the sandstone ridges. Nobody knew exactly where he was. Nobody was waiting for him. Nobody was going to notice he hadn't come back until it was already very late. What happened next? The single thing that separated this story from a far darker version of itself was that Rosello had his phone. He made a call from that cliff face, wedged between two rocks on a Friday morning in September. And that call set in motion something that would grow over the next 50 hours into one of the most complex mountain rescues South Africa had ever conducted. Multiple helicopters, more than 100 people. A police helicopter was dispatched and began working from Rosello's voice, his general description of where he was, the fragments of landscape he could describe from his position on the cliff. He was partially obscured by rock. From the air, he was nearly invisible. What found him eventually was a reflective strip on his jacket catching the light at the right angle. The crew spotted it, fixed the position, and the ground team had a coordinate. Rob Thomas, a mountaineer with the Mountain Club of South Africa, led the team that abseiled down to Rosello late that Friday night. What he found was a young man who had been wedged in that rock for hours, who had had nothing to drink since the previous morning, who could not feel his foot, and who was, in Thomas's later description, terrified in a way that went beyond the physical fact of his situation. Terrified of the dark, terrified of the mountain, and terrified, above everything else, of being left alone on it. He asked for some drinking water, since he had nothing to drink since yesterday morning. Thomas spent 2 hours with him that night, before he had to leave. He told Rossello before going that someone would stay. He said later that he believed that assurance, the promise that he would not be abandoned, mattered as much to Rossello in that moment as anything else the rescue team could offer. Paramedics rotated in after Thomas, staying with him in shifts of 6 to 8 hours, providing food and water and medication, and, perhaps most importantly, the simple fact of another person in the dark with him. Saturday was a day of work. The rescue team understood the problem clearly enough. A foot jammed into a gap in the rock on a cliff face, the body hanging below it, the geometry of it, meaning that the weight of the body was working against the extraction at every angle. They tried pulling on the leg directly, bracing and hauling, attempting to generate enough upward force to pop the foot free from the gap that held it. The rock held. They tried hacking at the stone around the foot, chipping away material to widen the gap, to give the foot somewhere to go. The gap did not meaningfully widen. They poured lubricant into the space between foot and rock, the same logic that had been tried in the cave rescues for decades. Reduce the friction, reduce the grip. Let the body's own weight assist the extraction. It did not work. Midway through Saturday, with the technical options running thin and Rossello's condition being monitored with increasing attention, Thomas recalled the conversation that would define the rest of the rescue. He put the question to Rossello plainly, the question about the leg, about what the team was considering, about what it would mean and what it would cost. Rossello did not hesitate. He said, "If you have to take the leg off, take the leg off, but get me out of here." That sentence is the moral center of this story, and it is worth holding for a moment. It is the sentence of a man who has done the arithmetic of his own situation and arrived at an answer that most people would spend days or weeks refusing to reach. 50 hours into entrapment, unable to feel his foot, alone
Like, couldn't
on a
they
cliff
just
in the
like
dark
break
with
like
strangers
pieces of the
keeping
rock?
alive in shifts. Rossello had already separated the question of the leg from the question of his life, and had decided, clearly and without apparent anguish, which one he was choosing. He consented not reluctantly, not after prolonged persuasion, but with a practicality that the rescue team leader described as remarkable.
Bro,
The call went out for a
this
surgeon.
this
Professor Frank Planny was a trauma surgeon at Chris Hani
What you call this?
Baragwanath Academic Hospital in Johannesburg,
What you
one
call
of the
this shit in
largest
English
hospitals
again,
on
guys?
the African continent. On Sunday morning, September 21st, he was hoisted down the cliff face
what the
on a
fuck you
rope
call this
where
shit in
Rossello
English
had
again?
spent the last 2 days. The conditions he
Zebra.
found there were
Nail.
not operating theater
Nail
conditions
polish.
by any
Yeah,
measure.
it's a nail.
The terrain was, in his own words, very, very unsteady. Rockfall was a live possibility from above, not a background risk, something the team was actively watching for throughout the procedure. The space was cramped, the light was whatever the team had brought with them. Plani had an anesthetist and a paramedic assisting him, and between the 3 of them, they were going to perform a below-knee amputation on a cliff face in the Magaliesberg on a Sunday morning. And they were going to do it in the same space where Rossello had been trapped, because there was no other space available. Rossello was sedated.
Hey,
A
Zeno,
tourniquet
dog,
was
my
improvised
teeth,
from climbing rope. The kind of adaptation that a rescue operation in this terrain requires, where the equipment you need is the equipment you brought for a different purpose, and have now repurposed, because no one pre-packs a surgical kit for a cliff face in the Magaliesberg. He was held in a harness attached to bolts, positioned so that his body could be moved slightly up and down to give Planny the access the procedure required. Planny amputated the right leg below the knee. The foot stayed in the rock. Rossello came free. He was airlifted from the mountain and taken to Chris Hani Baragwanath Academic Hospital, where he was listed in stable condition in intensive care 3 days later. Rob Thomas, who had led the rescue from the first abseil down to Rossello on Friday night through to Sunday's extraction, described the feeling afterward in 2 parts that he held simultaneously, without pretending one canceled out the other. He was elated, he said, that a life had been saved. And there was, alongside that, a disappointment. his word, that this poor guy had to lose his leg in the process. Not a complication, not a footnote, a disappointment. Sitting right next to the elation, the two feelings occupying the same space the way grief and relief often do when a rescue reaches its end. And you are standing in the light, looking back at what it cost to get there. Senolo Rossello went into the Magaliesberg alone on a Friday morning, looking for something he believed the mountain's water carried. He came out on a Sunday afternoon, alive, missing a leg below the knee, carried on a stretcher to a helicopter that lifted him away from the rock that had held him for 50 hours. The foot is still in the mountain.
That's too big.
Gerald Dwayne Easter was 17 years old, a 10th grade student at Arcadia Valley High School, and on the afternoon of Saturday, September 14th, 1986, he and his friend Eric Bennett, also 17, also from the small town of Pilot Knob, were doing what teenagers in rural Missouri do when the weekend opens up in front of them, and there is a cave at the top of the second highest peak in the state, sitting less than 2 miles away. Devil's Icebox is not a casual name. It is the kind of name that a place earns, a cave used historically as a mine near the top of Pilot Knob Mountain, cut into rock that has been worked and shifted and stressed over decades of extraction, the kind of geological environment where the relationship between stone and stability is more complicated and more fragile than it appears from the inside. Gerald and Eric were exploring it the way teenagers explore caves, without formal training, without equipment beyond what curiosity requires, drawn there by proximity and the particular pull that a place called Devil's Icebox exerts on the imagination of a 17-year-old with a free Saturday afternoon. At around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the wall of the cave moved. A boulder came loose from the wall without warning and came down onto Gerald Easter, pinning his legs from the knees down beneath an estimated 20 to 40 tons of solid rock. The range in that estimate is not in precision. It reflects the genuine difficulty of calculating the mass of an irregularly shaped piece of mountain that has just rearranged itself and landed on a teenager. And the difference between 20 tons and 40 tons is largely academic when the result is the same. A 17-year-old boy with both legs trapped beneath more weight than any human effort could shift without mechanical assistance, lying on the floor of a cave called Devil's Icebox on a Saturday afternoon in a town of 600 people 12 miles south of Farmington. Eric Bennett escaped with minor scratches, and then he ran 2 miles from the top of Pilot Knob Mountain down to town to get help for his friend who was pinned under a mountain inside a cave and could not get himself out. The call went out, and the response that came back was for a community the size of Pilot Knob, and the surrounding Arcadia Valley remarkable in its scale. The Pilot Knob Fire Department responded. Other fire departments from the surrounding area came. The mine rescue crew from Scott Air Force Base was brought in. Iron County Sheriff's deputies were on scene. By the time the full operation had assembled around Devil's Icebox, an estimated 200 people were at the site. 200 people mobilized to a cave on top of a Missouri mountain because a teenager was pinned under a boulder and the clock
I want to change the orientation now, but
was
let's watch the video.
Of those 200, approximately 70 would be directly involved in the technical work of freeing him. The others supported, staged equipment, maintained communications, and waited in the way that the outer rings of a rescue operation always wait, doing what can be done from their position and trusting the people deeper in to do what needs to be done from theirs. Getting Gerald Easter out was not going to be simple, and everyone who looked at the situation understood this immediately. The boulder was not sitting on his legs in a way that allowed for a straightforward lift and remove. It was positioned such that moving it incorrectly, applying force in the wrong direction, shifting it without controlling exactly where and how the weight redistributed, would bring it down harder onto his chest, trading crushed legs for a crushed torso, and a very different kind of outcome.
It's like a do not disturb setting for your mind, and it gets you focused in just 5 minutes, using science and...
The rescue team from Scott Air Force Base and the firefighters on scene had to approach the problem the way engineers approach a structural problem, reading the weight distribution and the contact points and the angles of potential movement before committing to any action, because the action they committed to was the only one they were going to get. A mistake with a boulder estimated between 20 and 40 tons, between approximately 18,000 and 36,000 kilograms, is not a mistake that gets a second attempt. While the technical planning took shape around him, Gerald Easter lay on the cave floor with the weight of a piece of mountain on his legs and, by every account from the people who were with him through the night, handled it in a way that nobody who has not been in that situation has any real standing to fully appreciate. His attitude was described throughout the long hours as genuinely good. He was talking to the rescue workers around him. He was eating. He was drinking hot chocolate that someone had brought in for him, sitting in a cave called Devil's Icebox with a boulder on his legs, drinking hot chocolate and talking to the men who were working to get him out. There were a couple of moments of panic, unavoidable, completely understandable, the kind of acute psychological breaks that anyone would experience after hours pinned under an immovable weight in the dark of a cave. But he was kept sedated enough to manage those moments without them becoming something that complicated the rescue further. For the most part, through Saturday night and into Sunday morning, Gerald Easter held on with the kind of steadiness that 17-year-olds are not supposed to need, and that this particular 17-year-old apparently had in sufficient supply to get through almost 18 hours underground with a mountain on his legs. The rescue workers who stayed with him through that night were running on something similar. Don Wynn, the Pilot Knob fire chief and part of the rescue crew, would say at around 8 o'clock on Sunday evening that they had been up for 40 hours by that point. 40 hours of sustained focus on a problem that required getting every variable exactly right before making a move, in a cave, with a teenager waiting on the outcome. The planning continued through Saturday night. The equipment was positioned and rigged. The angles were calculated and recalculated. And at approximately 9:30 on Sunday morning, 17 and a half hours after the boulder had come down on Gerald Easter's legs, the rescue team pried it off. He came out of Devil's Icebox alive. He was transported first to Arcadia Valley Hospital, and then transferred by helicopter to St. Mary's Hospital in St. Louis, where he arrived in serious condition with crushing injuries to both legs below the knees. The injuries had produced severe swelling, the specific dangerous kind of swelling that crushing trauma causes in soft tissue that has been compressed under enormous weight for an extended period, where the pressure interrupts circulation and the damage compounds with every hour the weight remains in place. At 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, he underwent 2 hours of surgery to relieve the pressure in his legs. The surgery went as well as it could have gone, and doctors reported afterward that the condition of his legs had improved since the procedure. But the word that appeared in every medical assessment in the hours and days following was the one that his family and the rescue workers, who had spent a sleepless night getting him out, were holding their breath over. Amputation.
Damn it.
Both legs were a concern. The crushing injuries were severe enough, and the duration of compression long enough, that the viability of the tissue below his knees was genuinely uncertain. A nursing supervisor at St. Mary's was careful and specific in how she framed it. The legs were viable right now, she said. Amputation was a concern. The word right now carrying all of the weight that two-word qualifiers carry when they are attached to medical assessments about a 17-year-old's legs. Gerald Easter was described as alert. He was sleeping a lot because of the pain medication, but when he was awake, he was present and conscious and aware of where he was and what had happened to him. His parents, Gerald and Freda Easter, who had recently moved the family to Pilot Knob, a town of about 600 people, tucked into the Arcadia Valley near the Mark Twain National Forest, had spent the night at the top of a mountain waiting for a boulder to be moved off their son, and were now waiting in a hospital in St. Louis for doctors to tell them whether the legs the boulder had crushed for 17 and a half hours were going to survive the damage they had sustained. Gerald Easter came out of Devil's Icebox alive, which was not a guaranteed outcome from the moment the wall moved at 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. What happened to his legs afterward was something that we never got to know. What had already happened, well, there was no undoing to that.
Wait, did they amputate the boy's legs or not?
The new Corolla Cross.
So they're just not gonna mention that part. They're just gonna
insufficient, as if
What? Nigga, what?
Please, do you know why I pulled you over tonight?
I rolled through the stop sign.
What the fuck? Bro, what the fuck are we talking about?
License and registration. License and registration, please. Do you know why I pulled you over tonight?
I rolled through the stop sign. I apologize, officer. I wasn't paying attention.
Can you cooperate with me? May I see your license registration, please?
You should remember me, Austin. It's been
A badge was meant to safeguard the innocent, but for one officer, it became cover for unspeakable evil.
Bruh, I was not expecting that, bro. I was not expecting that. Dog, look at me panicking. Dog, what the
Till
fuck?
the dead refused to stay quiet. What happened on that quiet evening would expose a monster hiding in uniform and bring justice from beyond the grave. For 3 years, Officer Austin Crow walked free, his secrets buried 6 feet down alongside the girl he killed. He thought he'd gotten away with it. He thought no one would ever know. But on a dim suburban road at dusk, he stopped a car that would shatter his world for good. The woman behind the wheel wasn't an ordinary driver. She shouldn't have been possible. She was dead, and she had come back for him. What unfolded next wasn't just a confrontation. It was a reckoning that would drag every dark truth into the light and send chills down your spine. Before the story takes you deeper, we need to pause and connect. We're so incredibly grateful you clicked on this video. It means the world to us. So, tell us where in the world are you right now? Drop your city or country in the comments below.
Fuck no.
And if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button and smash the like.
You want her to come
Your
to me
support
next,
keeps
boy.
these stories alive. And here's something special. If you love what we do and want to help us keep going, consider joining our channel membership. Members don't just get our endless appreciation. You'll also receive a magic code that unlocks exclusive access to our brand new platform, Omni Studio. It's packed with free printable safety cards, emergency resources, and dangerous truth. Power without accountability is intoxicating. In the small community of Ridgemont, his badge carried real weight. People respected it. They feared it. And Austin used that fear like a weapon. He wasn't the kind of officer who made headlines for bravery or community service. He was the kind who made people look away. Women especially. He had a pattern, a system he'd perfected over the years. Traffic stops that lasted too long. Warnings that came with conditions. Threats disguised as advice. He knew how to corner someone without ever leaving a mark. How to make them feel like speaking up would only make things worse. The department never questioned him. His record was clean on paper. He showed up on time, filed his reports, and kept his head down when it mattered. To his colleagues, he was just another cop doing his job. To the people of Ridgemont, he was something else entirely. A predator in a pressed uniform. Austin's crimes went beyond harassment. There were younger girls, some barely out of high school, who crossed his path and paid a price they never should have. He was careful. He never left evidence. He knew which neighborhoods had no cameras, which families were too afraid to push back, which victims would stay silent out of shame or fear. And for years it worked. He lived freely, untouched by consequence, protected by the very system meant to stop men like him. But every monster eventually makes a mistake. And Austin's came in the form of a 19-year-old girl named Nadia Cole. She was young, hopeful, and naive enough to believe that an officer of the law would never harm her. That trust would cost her everything, and though Austin didn't know it yet, it would cost him too. Because 3 years later, on a road he'd driven 1,000 times, Nadia would come back not as a memory, not as guilt, but as something far more terrifying. And when she did, Austin Crow's carefully constructed life would crumble in ways he never imagined. Nadia Cole had her whole life ahead of her. She was 19, working part-time at a local diner and dreaming of college. She was kind, trusting, and completely unprepared for the kind of evil that wore a badge. Austin had noticed her months before. He'd seen her walking home from work, seen her smile at strangers, seen her vulnerability, and he'd taken advantage of it. It started with a traffic stop. Nadia's car had a broken tail light. Nothing serious, but Austin made it serious. He pulled her over late one evening. Spotless record.
Bro, this shit is just stagnant, static. Megan Thee Stallion is a loser. A video by Hello Yasin.
You're one sentence away from launching your website with Base 44. Since the
I
beginning
heard
of
her
the
new
internet,
nigga
there's never
cheated
been
on her.
such
She
a fun
deserves it,
path.
man, for what she did to Tori.
What's poppin', y'all? I know some of y'all used to pray for times like this, and the prayers have been answered because Megan Thee Stallion and her new boo that she was parading around for well over the past year, Klay Thompson, NBA superstar, have broken up. And why did they break up? Well, she would first announce it on her IG story. And on her IG story, she would say the following: cheating, had me around your whole family playing house, got cold feet. Now keep in mind the cold feet. We're going to get into that a bit later because I think a lot of people are skipping through some things. Holding you down through all your horrible mood swings and treatment towards me. Really? Okay. During your basketball season. Now you don't know if you can be monogamous? Bit, I need a real break after this one. ... Bye, y'all. And she would put out a statement. This is hilarious. Her and her PR put out a statement via TMZ where she said, I've made the decision to end my relationship with Klay. Trust, fidelity, and respect are non-negotiable for me in a relationship. Really? Is it respect when your girl, your homegirl, your best friend is trying to get with an individual by the name of Tory Lanez and she doesn't know that you're cracking him consistently? Oh, and taking private jets to go there? Okay, well, maybe these are in a relationship, you know, like if it's a friendship, she's fine with that. But when it comes to a relationship between her man, he needs to have those qualities. And when those values are compromised, there's no real path forward. I'm taking this time to prioritize myself and move ahead with peace and clarity. Now, I think Megan Thee Stallion is anything but peaceful, but let's just do a little bit of a rewind. You know, look, that's the terrible rewind sound. But let's just go back to December, right? Because this goes back to what I was talking about, because there was this report on one of these platforms, which we are blurring out. I'm not shilling any of these platforms, and even if they pay me, I'm not shilling them. But it says, will Klay Thompson and Megan Thee Stallion be engaged before 2027? And it said a 73% chance. And this was December 17, 2025. And a lot of y'all lost paper off of that. Whoever thought that was going to happen. But this goes back to one of the statements that she made. But she was flexing everything. And I'm gonna play you guys this one clip from an interview where she was talking about how he was such a nice guy.
You want me to have a husband? Yeah. Don't you want a husband? Don't you want a family? I just want a nice person. And what?
So you just want a relationship?
I don't just want a relationship. I want to be with somebody who loves me. That's what I'm saying, yeah. Who cares about me. Okay. I want to really genuinely be happy.
You want a family?
I do want a family.
How many?
I want like 5 kids. I had never dated somebody so kind. Like, this is my first relationship where I've ever been with somebody who's genuinely a nice person, and he makes me genuinely happy. Like, I just never dated somebody like him before, and I'm just grateful that he's here by my side and he feel the same way about me.
Here she is, talking about how amazing everything is, talking about, oh yeah, you know, I just want somebody that loves me, I just want a connection, you know, she doesn't want to say like, yeah, I want to get married, but Shannon Sharp, you know, Unc Shannon, he trying to push for that. We're not forgetting that he made a grave mistake, paid a chick 20 M's, and she got the hell out of there. Hooey, she hit a lick on him. And then, once again, she was flexing, if we rewind a little bit further, to October.
Why did he pay 20 M's, though?
Because she would rap and she would say in a song "Lover Girl," so she's even dedicating songs to this guy. This is crazy. We really don't see a female rapper like Meg. I'm a savage, sassy, moody, ratchet. That's what she says about herself. She flips it on its head, and now she's dropping songs called "Lover Girl" and saying, "My man say my lady, he never say my B. Some make excuses, he make that ish exist." Wow, it looks like he giveth and he taketh away, because he took away whatever situation she thought was going to manifest out of this. And then let's just circle back to August, right? August, Megan Thee Stallion, she is known to be a cook, but we haven't seen her doing anything like that.
It is the best thing I've ever tasted. My favorite meal: catfish, spaghetti, and Hawaiian rolls. It just goes down. First bite.
Yeah.
So good. Flawless.
And she really loved this nigga, bro. She really loved this guy, bro. Like, let's not take that away from her. I mean, I'm still pissed off over the whole Tory Lane situation, but put that aside and just focus on what we have right now. She really loved this guy. She's out there cooking for this guy, making songs about lover girl songs about this guy. She's really in love with this guy, man. He did it right. He served it right. The mandem is proud of you, bro.
Stand a chance.
The mandem is proud of you, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. The second one, him saying first bite, it sounds like somebody that is not about to enjoy that meal. It sounds like he's held hostage. Is there a Glock behind it or something? What's going on? We don't know. But the point is, she changed up her whole brand. She was on IG stories just cooking. Now, she wasn't like a Cardi B that said I would never cook, but this was out of character. So we're, 8 months ago? So I wonder what's happening during this time. And then also, let's take into consideration, Klay Thompson was also showing love too. So it's not like people are going to try to play it off as, Klay Thompson, he was just thugging. He was just doing his thing. Yeah, he was just No, he wasn't. Let's stop here. You know who finessed Megan Thee Stallion? A Blueface. Blueface went over there, cracked it. DaBaby cracked it the day before Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez was a lover boy over Megan Thee Stallion. Let's not mince words here. Yeah, he was loving on her. Now, granted, was he loving on her as much as he loved the opportunity of potentially getting with Kylie Jenner when he was at the peak of his fame with Quarantine Radio in 2020 that led to what inevitably that night got him locked up right now? No. He was not a lover boy to that extent with Megan Thee Stallion. Kylie Jenner still superseded that. But Klay Thompson, back in November, he named his boat SS Stallion. And it's Houston, Texas. You see it right there. So he was showing a lot of love to her. He was defending her. So this was his girl, for sure.
They're in love.
In February, you could see her on IG Live talking about Klay Thompson and how happy she was in this relationship. But you noticed that they had unfollowed each other.
I feel like I don't know what's going on. That's their boyfriend weight. That's their Klay weight. All you do is feed me. I feel like I never get on live and talk about the things I want to talk about. First of all, because I feel like everybody. You trying to hold me. I get on this hoe and I breathe and they be like, "Hey, Miss Stallion. Breathe wrong. Everything's collapsing."
So there were probably issues from February, because that's when the unfollowing happened, and people were like, "Yo, y'all are reading too much into it. Megan's just enjoying life, this and that." And hey, listen, some people were saying they never followed each other in the first place, but clearly there was something going on here. And then he would also defend her to reporters. So September in 2025, he got asked a question, Klay Thompson, and this is what he had to say.
So for you, how have you balanced this summer for you, and more importantly, how has your relationship made you better as a man on and off before, and how that's going to move forward for you as far as your career?
My relationship with
Megan Thee Stallion.
I'm not going to talk about that, but I will say that every summer doesn't change for me because
Bro, that's a weird question to ask, bro. Like, why would they ask? Wait, what? What? What does him being in a relationship have to do with him being a better man, like on the field? Like that makes no sense, bro. Some journalists did that. Some journalists just be prying, bro. I swear.
Go the distance, and there's really no such thing as an off season. The summertime is just as strenuous as the season, and you have to train as if you're going to play 100 games a year, and that's what I do.
Here's an important thing too. He said he doesn't want to speak on it, and he has to train the same way that he does. And I think this was potentially a point of contention between them in their relationship, because, like I said in the IG story, she said holding you down through your horrible mood swings during your basketball season. I think she's exaggerating, because this is the thing. Megan Thee Stallion, she's not 19. She's not 20. She's not just some college girl. She was on the cusp of being... No, actually, let me not disrespect her like that. Megan Thee Stallion was briefly a female rap superstar. She had a #1 with Savage. She had a song with Beyonce. She had a song with Nicki Minaj that did well. And she had that #1 with Cardi B WAP. I can't believe I was about to knock her like that. And she had a whole cultural movement with Hot Girl Summer. So she was briefly a female. And then Cobra, which was the diss towards Nicki Minaj, which I felt like that was really a manufactured #1, being honest here. But with all that wrapped up, and good news, was that her? Yeah, good news. I was about to say good AM. I was like, I could never disrespect the quality of Mac Miller's music by making the mistake and labeling her album with his album title. I could never do you like that, Mac Miller. But I don't think this guy was going through mood swings. She knew what it was. She has. My point is, she has experience. So she's been with, people allege that she's been with everybody in the industry. She's had relationships with everybody. So she's been around the block. Some people will say she knows what she likes, right? So she didn't get fooled. Are you kidding me? It's an NBA player. She knew what it was. And I think he was in a relationship with her. I think he was loving on her. And I think she, like I said earlier, remember when she said, got cold feet? And you remember when there was a 73% chance of them getting engaged?
She wants to get married. Forget about that shit.
What I think happened is
the boy ain't
she
trying to
was
go to
pushing
jail
for an engagement and saying like, yo, when are we going to get married? And basically she proposed. And he said, what do you mean when do we get married? And she crashed out. I think that's what it is. And then I think, because there's no... You don't know if you can be monogamous, because what were you this entire time? There's no way that Megan Thee Stallion was out in public with this guy, booed up like that, knowing that he was with other chicks the entire time, behind her back. Important to note that, because what also might have happened, because people do say Megan Thee Stallion is a freak, and this is just, I'm not even gonna hit source trust me bro, because when I use that source trust me bro, I'm actually telling something valid. But this is just completely a rumor that has spread around, is that Megan Thee Stallion, she'd be messing with chicks too. So what possibly happened in their relationship, the way that she's writing this out, is I think she pressured for marriage, or she was allowing other women into their relationship, into their situation, and they would have, group activities together. And I think she said like, hey, when we get married,
shit, boy. Freaks. Freaks, boy. Freaks. My girlfriend is not that freaky though. She'll be freaking in her own way, but she's not that freaky. I should probably ask. Who knows?
All this stuff is out the door, right? And Klay Thompson's
but then, I don't think so, because she's never been a lesbian.
I'm not gonna have other chicks with you when we get married. I thought this was, a done deal. I think he felt like he got rug pulled. And he's like, wait, hold on, what? So I'm gonna commit to you, and I'm gonna give you a ring, and we're gonna get married, and I'm gonna get less women than before. I don't know if I'm ready for that. And that is what I honestly believe happened, because we know Megan Thee Stallion is a stone cold liar. She lied to Gayle King on live television. You don't think she's gonna lie or distort the truth in this scenario? Let's be real here. And I think that also makes sense, because if Megan Thee Stallion is organizing something like this with other chicks, she's likely going to have them sign NDAs, and that's why it didn't get out. Because if Klay Thompson was cheating on her and it was just some random chick, we would know about it. If you're a celebrity, it's too difficult right now, especially if they're a domestic celebrity. Like, let's say he's in the U.S. and he's cheating on his popular girlfriend, and they're both famous in the U.S. It's getting out because the girl is going to tell another girl, that's going to turn into a rumor, that's going to make a TikTok about it, that's going to go viral, that everybody's going to talk about. So he's going to get caught, unless he's the one that's, making sure that they sign NDAs, but I don't think he would risk that. So the only way that it didn't leak, or one of the few ways in that it didn't leak, is because they were both in on it. Because if the girl leaks it, then there isn't any tea, so to speak, because Megan already knows that this is going on, as opposed to Clay just with a random chick. And also think about it. A random chick shows up somewhere with Clay, there's going to be a flick of it. Somebody's taking a photo of it. This guy is very, 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 very famous. So that is the situation that I'm thinking about. And like I said, if Megan Thee Stallion can't make it work with the nicest guy she's ever been with, just talking sweet about him the entire time, and then now she flips it on him, and of course she's blaming him, not saying that, oh, I did this wrong. She's not taking any accountability for anything that happened in their situation. We all know it's Megan's fault. Or, perhaps Klay Thompson just wasn't man enough to defend her and accept her past. Some people, they're just not man enough like that. They don't make men like that anymore, to be honest. Like, me, I'm just a boy, so...
And in my defense, man, I'm also a boy, man, in that regard, man. Like, dog, like the worst thing about this shit, right, when it comes to like a chick like Megan Thee Stallion, like, her relationships are public. Like, you see with me, dog, like, if I was to get another girlfriend, dog, it was going to be public some way, somehow. Like, it was going, like my dumb ass would want to put on a vlog or want to put on a stream, then that shit just turns into, so... Yeah, in that regard, bro, like, I'm also...
I wouldn't know. I can't handle that. I'm not that strong-willed. Some people, they may be that strong-willed. It's like Klay Thompson. There's good basketball players and there's not good basketball players, and he just happens to be one of the very good ones. But that doesn't mean it translates to everything else. Doesn't mean he's a good man, like she told us. But y'all let me know what you think about my conspiracy theory. Does that make sense? Because what does she mean monogamous? Because like I said, if they weren't monogamous, if they weren't officially, quote-unquote, in a relationship, she wouldn't be posting him up and all that. She would be doing what she did with Tory Lanez, which is nobody really knew about it. She would be doing what she did with DaBaby. Nobody really knew about it. She would be doing what she did with Blueface. Nobody really knew about it.
Type shit.
Who knows however many other guys. But we did hear rumors from her ex-assistant, too, saying that she gets drunk, and not only does she get ratchet, which we also heard from the Kylie party, but she also be getting into it with chicks. And I think that possibly why Klay Thompson stayed with her for so long, and he wasn't willing to give that up, because Megan Thee Stallion, if you bring forth that, hey, you're the chick that's going to date him, and you're going to bring in other chicks, and then you take that away, you're really scamming him. But hey, let me...
Yeah, man, but... Yeah, man, she's just complaining about all that shit, man. Come on, bro. Man, come on, bro. What are we doing, bro? She deserves it. Free Tory. Free Tory, y'all. Free Tory. Free Tory. Free Tory. Yeah, I'm not finna stand with Megan. Nah, dog. Free Tory.
Just a strange, steady gaze.
Did you still live stream?
Feel like what's the point? Is it me?
The David situation. Okay, let me react to that. Let me react to that as well.
Pay attention to this booking image. 3 angles, front. Pay attention to this booking image. 3 angles, front, left profile, right profile, of a suspect who looks like he should be in a high school classroom. Look at his face. Look at how young he appears. The booking officer who processed him that night actually paused the procedure twice to ask whether a guardian had been notified. Now look closer.
Look past the face, look at the arms. The tattoos covering both shoulders and running down to his wrists aren't the impulsive ink of a teenager. They're years of deliberate layered artwork that takes time and money and a certain settled sense of permanence to accumulate. Look at the number on that booking board. 00145897. That number represents 11 prior arrests across 3 states. Now, here's the question that haunted every detective who ever looked at this image. How does a man with 11 prior arrests keep walking free? The answer to that question is the most unsettling part of this entire story, because the answer is standing right there in that image, holding that booking board.
Who's this guy?
Booking board, looking exactly like someone nobody would ever believe was the most dangerous person in the room. You know that feeling when you assume you know exactly what you're looking at? When your brain processes an image so fast, so automatically, that you never stop to question whether what you're seeing is actually what's there. We all do it. It's how human perception works. We build shortcuts, categories. We see a face that looks young, and we assign it youth. We see a small frame, and we assign it harmlessness. Devlin Ross spent 9 years turning that cognitive shortcut into a criminal empire. Let me tell you about Kellerton, a mid-sized city in the inland southeast that most people outside the region have never heard of. Population just under 200,000, a city with decent neighborhoods and struggling ones, with a strong church community and a stubborn poverty problem and the particular mix of ambition and frustration that characterizes cities of its size and history. Kellerton had a drug problem. Not unique to Kellerton, most cities its size did. But Kellerton's drug problem had, over the course of nearly a decade, become unusually organized, unusually efficient, unusually difficult for law enforcement to penetrate or disrupt. Supply arrived reliably. Distribution was structured. Disputes were resolved quickly and quietly. The whole operation ran with a discipline that Detective Yvonne Quarles of the Kellerton PD's Organized Crime Unit described in a 2019 interview as almost corporate. At the top of that corporation, giving orders that moved through layers of intermediaries before reaching anyone who actually touched product or money, was a 31-year-old man who looked 17. And before we get to Devlin, we need to talk about Wendell Price, because Wendell is where this story truly starts. Wendell is the reason any of this came to light at all. Wendell Price was 47 years old. He was a certified public accountant who'd been practicing in Kellerton for 19 years. He had a small but well-regarded firm on the 4th floor of a downtown office building, a wife named Loretta who taught elementary school, and 2 daughters in college. People who knew him described him as quiet, careful.
I actually don't want to react to where's that David story, Celeste? What kind of bullshit is this, though? I swear, man, these niggas be making crazy thumbnails. Oh, there we go.
Let's check on your list first. Let's start at the bakery.
How much bitch left going here here? Let's just react to this shit and call it, bro. Cause this phone is basically low right now.
I didn't think it was possible for me to be any more disgusted, any more flabbergasted.
Hold up. Let's fix this shit real quick. There we go.
this dude truly is a type of evil. He is a predator. He's the kind of the predator that deserves a Netflix movie. He's the kind of predator that people write horror books about. Truly a sick individual. To just call him a pedophile is to
Doesn't
be
do him
far
justice.
too generous to the level of evil that this man has attained. And the reason I was able to come to this realization was because of an interview that Gideon just conducted, where he interviewed this man right here who goes by the name of Steve Fisher. He runs what, according to him, is the #1 missing persons investigative department or organization or company in the country, right? He calls himself the #1 missing persons investigator in the country. And, you know, to his credit, he has found 33 people since 2023, which is, that's pretty impressive. People go missing, and you hire this guy, and he finds them. That's pretty impressive, right? Well, anyway, he was hired by the owner of this house. You see, this is the house that David was living in when all of this shit hit the fan. This is the mansion, the house that Celeste was in. This is a house, the mansion that he live streamed from. Many times, the mansion that the Tesla was parked at, the same Tesla that Celeste, the 13-year-old girl, who I think would have been, she was definitely 14 at the time of her death, at the very least. You know, that the same Tesla that she was found in, her chopped up body, because her body was dismembered. Her body was chopped up by this fucking freak, right? This is the same house that it was parked at. The owners of this house, they hired this man right here, Steve Fisher, to perform an investigation because they weren't getting much information from the police. None of us were getting much information from the police. And the information that he has unearthed and shared in this interview, truly eye-opening, and really reveals just how sick this person is. But it goes much further than that. Not only are we going to learn some of the gruesome, sick details about David, what he did to Celeste, and his personality and just who he is as a person, we're going to hear about other victims that he was grooming. Celeste was not the only minor that he was grooming, right? Maybe not even the only minor that has gone missing permanently because of him, right? That part, we'll have to wait and see. But on top of that, we will learn that just how guilty people who knew Celeste, including her family, really were. Turns out Celeste was not exactly missing in the way that we were led to believe that she was missing, at least according to this private investigator. And so we're going to go over a few key moments from this interview. This interview is over an hour long. I'll link to it down below if you want to consume the entire thing in its totality. But I'm going to go over a few key moments from this interview that I really wanted to highlight. All right, and so let's dive in.
How long's
So
the
the first
video?
segment of the interview we're going to talk about, it touches on this video. This video went viral once everybody started doing their own little investigations online because, again, we weren't getting shit from the police, it felt like. And so you had a lot of people on the internet doing their own little investigation, seeing what they could unearth, seeing what they could dig up and find in regards to David and Celeste. And this was one of the videos that went viral where Celeste says something incredibly illuminating and incredibly concerning. Now, at the time of recording this video here, Celeste would have been around 13 years old. I could be off, but I'm pretty sure in this video she's 13 years old, right? And so here we have David, grown man at this point. I think he's 19 years old at this point, right? 19 approaching 20. And look at what Celeste says. And this video marks a very important timestamp in the timeline of their relationship leading up to her death and then dismemberment. All right, let's go.
I media trained you. That's controversial.
It's controversial.
Look at, first and foremost, look at how he's gripping her shoulder.
It's very hard.
Right? This is him exerting ownership over her. Right? I media trained you. Grabs her shoulder. Right? You know how you're supposed to talk, my little pet. This is what he's communicating here, but look at this.
It's
It's controversial of kids.
She says it's controversial over raping kids? What? See, what we're going to find out is that Celeste was groomed into this position. She didn't understand what was happening at this point in time, which is about a year before she's eventually killed. She starts to realize that she is a victim in this relationship. She starts to realize that she had been groomed and that she was being taken advantage of and that she was being separated from her family and being brainwashed in a lot of ways. And so she is trying in her own way to broadcast, right? This is her, in her own way, asking for help, right? All right, we continue.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh.
And if you look
Cancel.
at all the people, right?
Cancelled.
All the people in the stream.
Come on, delete everything. Delete.
End stream, Nashi's cook, end stream.
Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes.
You are done. See that? And this is something that's very sick. We're going to come to realize is that everybody knew about this, bro. Everybody, not everyone as in us, but
Even the fans know. Yeah.
Her family knew about this. People at her school knew about this, bro. The people in this neighborhood that they lived in knew about this. This was a very open secret that David was running around with this little 13-year-old girl, man. Very sick shit. Very sick shit. So now let's take a listen to what Steve had to say regarding this video and how it played such an important point in establishing timelines, because it was after this live stream that Celeste actually started running away multiple times. Look at this.
And now there is a house before the lease started, which he did that famous live stream from, the delete everything, where it's Celeste in that one. That was actually filmed
So
in
was
a
that
house.
Celeste? So a lot of people say that was the other Celeste in that. So that
was
live
the
stream,
her.
that was Celeste in that live stream where
The
they
one
said,
where she talks about R-ing kids, and he says delete everything. That's Celeste.
Do you know when that stream had happened?
Gosh, if I remember right, that was like January of 24. That was right before she ran away the first time.
Okay.
Might have the date off by a little bit. So, and then right after that is when she starts running away. And she has these series of runaway events. But it was no secret that she was with him. In fact, somebody close to the situation, her family, the school where she was going, wrote his management by email and said, paraphrasing it, there's a rumor that David might be involved in the disappearance of 13-year-old, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. If that's true, please make sure she gets home quickly. And she got home. She arrived the next day. And that email was received by his management company, and they did send it to him. Wow. I have proof of that. He was aware of it. So then she arrives back home, but then she runs away again. He was grooming her. He's a predator. This is not the only girl he was involved with.
Now, when I first heard this situation, right, and I think when a lot of people first heard about this situation, obviously right away we understand he's a freak, he's a predator, he's a pervert, he's a groomer. However, you wonder, is he like just a pedophile that fell in love with this underage girl? It's very sick. It's freak shit. You know what I'm saying? He should be. I mean, I don't even want to say what I think should happen to people like that. But is she the only one? Is this like a weird fixation that he has on this little girl, or is he just in general this like PDF weirdo that just loves little girls in general, and she's just one of his victims? Which one is it? At least that was something that I wondered about initially.
It's crazy.
Well, this information that I'm about to share with you makes it incredibly clear that it's the second one. This was not some perverted Romeo and Juliet type situation. This was a freak, a PDF, a pervert, a pedo that was just preying on different girls and had
Freaky
very
ass nigga here, 69 God.
sexual desires. And that's because of what they found on his phone. I'll let Steve
reveal that to you right now.
Mm.
When I was in court yesterday, when I happened to be looking right at David, he was.
Bro, I think. God damn, this is strong, bro. I think they found like 1 terabyte of child pornography on his phone. Like 1 terabyte, dog. That's 1,000 kids, boy. Bro is cooked. Bro is cooked.
Kind of in front of me, and
Bro is cooked.
they brought him in an orange jumpsuit, and they sat him down at the table with his lawyers, and they handcuffed him to the table. I didn't know what was coming out of the prosecutor. I happened to be looking at him because I was like, man, he looks so different. He does not look like, you know, David, you know, the artist. He looks, he just don't look the same. And so I was looking at him, and then they were talking about when discovery, which is all the evidence and stuff, is going to be delivered to his lawyers, and the prosecutor comes out. So she comes out and says, you know, Your Honor, one of the biggest issues is that there, on his phone, there was a voluminous amount of child porn. Proper word now is CSAM, right? But she went child porn, and then she goes, because of this child porn, I mean, she said child porn 4 times in a row. It was very intentional. You had to let him know, we know. He just stared straight ahead. He wasn't like, he didn't turn to his lawyer like, what the hell, you know, he knew, like,
I'm cooked.
I think he knows that they got him dead to rights. Right?
This man had child pornography on his phone, bro. Like, so again, this was not some kind of perverted Romeo and Juliet situation. This is a man that was just truly a pedophile that had weird sexual desires in regards to children and young people, minors, and Celeste was just one of his victims. You know, that's what he is. Now, we have been told that Celeste was missing, right? Her parents filed a missing persons report, and we didn't know where she was. She was essentially kidnapped by David, or at least that was the impression that we were given as the public trying to find out what's going on with this situation. But according to Mr. Fisher here, Steve Fisher, the investigator, to call her missing is putting a little sauce on it. Because during this year that Celeste was missing, she attended family events, right? There was communication between her and family. They knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that she was with David. And it appears as if, right, this was a situation where this young girl, 13, 14, she was rebelling. It would appear as if there was something like that going on. I don't want to go to the absolute worst possible scenario, which is essentially her family sold Celeste to David. They were essentially puking her out to David.
Bro. Crazy shit, dog. Crazy shit. I actually know of a mother, dog, who sells her kids, dog. Like, she be putting up her kids with like old ass man. They be sleeping with her, with the children and all of that shit, and she just be cool with it. I mean, granted, one makona very speaker is one sebenzi vele, but like they no longer live. I don't know where they live right now. Like they moved somewhere, bro. But yeah, that shit be happening. And I actually saw like one of the chicks, dog. I saw one of the chicks on the day we're shooting the music video for Stress Me, dog. She had like some luggage, and I was like, yo, little mommy, I would talk to you, but I gotta go. Like that chick, what? Yeah, bro. Like she just had like luggage, dog, and I was running to like shoot the music video for Stress Me because I had left the song here, and the guys already at the basketball court like waiting for me. So I had to run back home, fetch the song, and go back. But on my way back to the basketball court while I was running, I saw her carrying like luggage. Like, yo, little mommy, I would stay here and chat, but I gotta go handle business, dog, because yeah, she's also promiscuous, dog. Like, hella promiscuous.
That's
So,
altogether possible. We have to wait and see how things unfold.
Yeah, but she's like a little older. I think
little bit more
I think she's
it was
done with
probably
school.
a situation where they failed her as a parent.
But then like the
failed
other,
to monitor her,
but then like
failed
the other is there's like 3 chicks, right? So I think the 2 are down to school. Then there's the one who's like, I think now she's in grade 8 or something, bro. So like I know that the mother was selling like her kids to like older men to sleep with the older men. That's why I just took a step back from dealing with like like that chick that I saw. I just took a step back, man. You know what I'm saying? Not because I knew what she was doing. I just thought like she was cheating. Like, yo, shawty, how can you be with me? Then the next day I see you with this guy. So for me, she was like cheating on me. Then the news came out later on that nah, bro, this chick, her and her sister and her little sister, they were actually selling their bodies to like all the men. Are like, oh, what? No wonder. Yeah, but that family's cooked, y'all.
Provides her, gave her unrestricted access to the internet so that she was vulnerable to have communications with a person like David, be in the online chat rooms where she could be preyed upon. He groomed her, and then she was convinced that she wanted to leave her family and go live with David. He's rich, he's successful, he's famous. You know, she probably perceived him as being attractive in her own little girlish way. And so, you know, she was like, yeah, I want to run away and be with David. Of course, she was brainwashed. We understand this. And so, what is her family to do? You know, that's a sad reality. What do you do with a girl like that? Do you chain her up to the bed? Right? Because as soon as she is, you know, out of the house, she goes off to school.
She goes to David.
Unless you're not watching her 24/7, she's going to run away to be with this guy. Now, I don't know. You know, you've already failed your child once they get to that point. But if you had to be put in that position, what do you do? Do you call the police and inform what's going on with David? Do you call CPS? You know, here's what I know. You don't just like let it happen. But here, let's allow Steve to talk about that for a little bit here.
2025. So she's gone a very long time. And that's been the whole thing, is piecing this together. Where exactly was she? Because we didn't really have evidence that we had evidence that she had been to the house, but not that she was like living at the house. And David would travel a lot for concerts or whatever, and nobody would stay there. So we're like, where was she in all this time? And then we find out that she wasn't truly a runaway. That's the part that's upsetting to me too, is that her family knew where she was, and she'd shown up for like her cousin's high school graduation. She showed up at a family event. There's a video out there of her arguing with the next door neighbors in the apartment complex next to her house, all while she's supposedly a missing person. And so it's all very frustrating. There's a lot of things, a lot of failures around her. And I understand she's probably a handful. I get that. But the thing is, she's a kid. That's part of being a parent. She needed direction, you know? She needed, like, a direction in life. And it's not okay. They knew who he was. And it's just, I don't care how rich he is. I don't care how famous he's becoming.
Yeah. So there we have it. Now, one of the darkest revelations that occurred during this interview was, and it explains why they had such trouble determining cause of death. The amount of time that body was in the car. She was in there for months, bro. 4 months plus. She was rotting in that Tesla, being moved around. David would operate the car. Like this part, now of course this is according to this investigator, so I suppose we should say allegedly, but it makes it, there is no chance that this man doesn't get found guilty, bro. There is no chance that this man didn't know about this, that he didn't do this, that he didn't play a role in dismembering the body and trying to hide her and all of that, because she was in that car for months. People came to the house and talked about the smell. The neighbors, they complained about the smell. Right? She died. This is what the police believe, apparently. That she was killed in April, the end of April. Her body was chopped up about 2 weeks later, around the beginning of May. And then she wasn't discovered until September.
April, May, June, July, August.
I thought this was a situation, and this is why I was like so perplexed. I was like, I was so confused. You know, she was found sometime in September, and so I'm here thinking, okay, all right, so well, how long she been in there? A week? You know, 2 weeks? How fast do bodies degrade like that? She was in there for months, bro. 4 months.
Oh, not 5. Malamasi.
Chopped up. This man, freak, bro. Absolute fucking freak.
He's a monster,
like,
bro.
What was going on in his mind. But so there's 2 two dates that they put out there. April 23rd, they believe is the day she was lured to the house, and then some point shortly after killed with a sharp object, they're saying. And then May 8th, is it the 5th, or they have to look at the timeline to be honest with you, is when they're saying she was dismembered. You got this gap in time where did he store her? You know, because you know, you're going on a week and a half, and that's really the point of building that timeline. The timeline only focuses on this time period between the April 23rd and May when he dismembers her. And what we're trying to do is just find out what his movement was, for one, in that time period, and also kind of what his mental state, at least public facing, was. And we've started to compile. Then we learned, well, April 23rd is when they announced Wither Tour is happening. He had just gotten done with Coachella a couple days earlier. He's at Coachella, and then they announced the Wither Tour or the Withered album is dropping. And so on the 24th, they have so we're talking just hours after he would have killed her, they have a album release party here in LA. On the 25th, he heads out to New York for a
It's insane, right? I was just talking to my wife about how, like, I get thrown off with just the slightest inconveniences. Like my daughter, my second daughter, her birthday just passed. We had a birthday party for her, and as I'm trying to like figure out my work schedule, and then I'm like, oh yeah, we got to do this birthday party. I'm like, oh man, that's just gone. I might just have to take that whole day off and I can't even work that day. This dude is chopping up bodies,
And he's still
and
going.
then hopping on planes and going to album release parties.
Sure.
This man is a psychopath. He's a sociopath, right? It's
He cares about his
fucking
image.
crazy.
Shit, bro.
He's kills her. He's going and doing shit. He comes back. He chops her up. He goes and does some more shit. He's flying to Korea. He's doing all kinds of. He's going on tour, bro. This man cannot be allowed to walk the streets ever again. This is the pinnacle of evil, and it gets sicker, guys. It gets like there's more sick shit to be on earth in this interview. Just wait on it.
Band lab pop-up in New York City, and then he goes from that. He goes to Houston, to his hometown in Houston, and plays. He's from Houston, yeah.
Wow, I'm from Houston. I'm here, right? I didn't even know that.
So then he goes to Houston for a couple days, and so he's moving on. Like I'm talking, you know, he has a. If prosecutors are correct about the 23rd being the day, and I believe they are because there's somebody that obviously gave them the information, then within hours he's fine. He's in a mindset where he's like, I'm ready to go to the party, I'm ready to go to New York. It's not affecting him. Now we do see it's kind of like this, almost like an adrenaline rush. There's all these posts, and he's playing these shows and these pop-ups, but then there's like this crash. He goes somewhat a lot more silent, you know, after the dismemberment. He goes to Seoul, Korea for pop-up, and he's in Malaysia. And
oh wow, yeah. So he had to take like a couple days off after he chopped up a 14-year-old's body. You know, that kind of thing can really take some out of a guy, I imagine. Now, again, big shout out to Gideon. I implore you to go and watch this entire interview if you want to hear all the little details. There are some things that I'm not mentioning. I'm really just hitting on the big things that really caught my attention. All of it's interesting, but there were just a couple things I wanted to talk about. Last two things that really reveal how much of a sick fuck this guy really is, man. The first thing is that there was a lot of evidence that was found that him doing what he did to Celeste's body, him dismembering her, was not just about him trying to get rid of the body. In fact, he didn't get rid of the body, guys. He kept it in his car like some kind of a trophy. Right? He kept it in his car for 4 months. So he didn't even do that necessarily so that he could more easily dispose of the body. Come to find out that this guy is into this kind of shit, like gore. He's into, like, it's a fetish that he has. I told you that there was more sick shit here, guys. Like, he's into cutting bodies up. He thinks that shit is cool. He might even be sexually aroused by it. So take a listen to this right here.
They're sick, you know, twisted, you know, mindset. And listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. As an investigator, I'm very much an Occam's razor type of guy. I'm like, the simplest explanation usually is the way these things go. But I'll tell you, it's hard to get around the fact that his lyrics and everything, I can understand a couple songs, like, okay, you know, like, these are things you sing about that are, you know, whatever. It seems very, very, like, this was his world. This, like, his lyrics talking about, you know, like, I have text messages he sent to the girls, like, dismembered, you know,
I'm here
anime,
trying to figure out why I'm not getting drunk, and I realize that I'm only taking like shots.
It's just...
So he was sending, the other minors he was talking to, he was sending dismembered animes to them?
I'm not in the anime world, so if I say the terms wrong or whatever, forgive me, but, you know, it was these, you know, anime characters with their arms pulled off, and you could see, like, you know, they would show the, like, dismembered arm, you know, like, detached. It's just crazy, sick stuff, and this is before this all happened, obviously, but now looking back, you're going, wow, this is the consume this guy.
So this is before
he even did it.
It was Celeste, man. Like, before he killed her.
He's been about this shit for...
He was sending pictures and videos and little gifs and whatever the fuck to these little minor girls, these little underage girls of people with their bodies and limbs being chopped up, anime, right? You gotta be careful. Like, I love anime, right? Can't wait for the next season of Solo Leveling to drop. Just finished watching the latest season of Invincible, if we can even call that an anime. But, you know, so I've been into that shit, but we all know that there's like a kind of guy that's like too into anime, bro. You know, he's got all the anime body pillows. He's got a fucking he got a shuriken collection. Not trying to, you know, fucking. If you're into that.
You know what, dog? You know what? Do you know? I feel like the most crazy thing about this, like, guys who really are into anime, like, they're a little bit psychopathic, right? I'm really starting to believe, like, the guys who are really deep into anime, and it depends, like, the level of anime you are, but I just really believe, like, the deeper a person is, and, like, the higher, like, the level of intelligence is, like they are more likely to be this type of a person, like truly speaking, they're more likely to be, like, psychopathic in a way, bro. So yeah, them anime boys,
You're not a weirdo, bro. I'm not really trying to offend you, but like this, there's these dudes, man, and they're just into this like shit to a very weird level. You gotta look out for those guys, man. You gotta look out for those guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching with that one, but I don't know. I always get a little weird vibes from those dudes, man. But anyway, you know, so he's sending them these videos and pictures, these girls being chopped up and shit, or fucking the anime characters. And so then what does he do? He goes and he does that to Celeste. And the last piece of information from this interview that proves that it is, again, not just him trying to get rid of the body, because he didn't even do that anyway, but there is some kind of weird fixation that he has with the body parts, is what Steve says at the very end of this interview. This shit sent chills down my spine.
What did he do to the body parts?
Take a listen.
Huge shout out to you. And one last question. A big misconception is two things where they'll say, like, there's this other Celeste, like, that's a lot of people like to throw out. Is there even another Celeste, or is that something that they like to just throw out? And also, did Celeste have a tattoo of David on one of her fingers?
Yes, she did, and that finger's gone.
So bro. Allegedly, according to this investigator, and he's testified in this whole situation, he's actually gone involved in the actual prosecution of David, you know, or the investigation of this case, right? So he's really intertwined in this situation. The finger that Celeste had,
with David's tattoo,
where David's name was tattooed on her finger.
He took that shit, dog.
And let me see if I can find you a picture of that real quick. Here it is. Clearer pictures from the video. A tattoo on her finger which clearly says David, and an Instagram story of what looks to be David with Celeste. Right, look at this. And so this is actually, allegedly, a picture of Celeste's finger that she posted on her Instagram story. Clearly says David. This finger is gone. When they discovered the body,
this finger
she
was
was
gone.
missing two of her fingers, this being one of them. Where's the finger? This freak, he has it somewhere. He just has her finger somewhere. Bro, give this man the death penalty. Allegedly, right? Give this man the death penalty. You know, apparently California hasn't executed anyone in over 20 years. Well, hey man,
Here comes.
sometimes, you know, if there was ever a time to break the fucking streak, I
Now's
think
the
we found
time.
it. But that's the situation, man. So shout out once again to Gideon for interviewing this investigator.
But
Crazy.
that's crazy though.
Situation. I don't think anybody really saw that coming.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, well, there you go. You let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace out.
Bro, this guy is sick, bro. Nigga took a finger. What you gonna do with the finger, gang? What are you gonna do with the finger, bro? And apparently in one of his music videos, dog, there's a music video whereby like he I don't know, he shows like the type of shit he be doing, bro. Bro, 2.38 million subscribers, come on, bro. This guy's a sick pervert, dog. 538 videos, and this nigga been on his grind, though. Why would you throw all of that shit away, though? Let me see. Did he drop the album? No, I don't think he did. I'm not playing the album, y'all. I just want to check when this album dropped. Is he a singer? 1 year ago? Nah, this is not the one. This is sick, bro. Why would he throw all of that shit away, though? Yeah, bro, One More Dance says 7.1 million views. My House Is Not a Home, 14 million. Bro, why would he throw away all of that shit, dog? Oh, you know that, my gums, bro. Adam 22 Guest Live sets. What did he do now? Hey, let me turn off the stream, guys, before my phone switches off, man.
Yeah, you're right. No, that foot.
Alright, y'all. Let's just call it, man. Let me close up the stream.